We've got a good crowd going there.
Oh, yeah. All the usual
Hello,
criminals.
Renee. I'm so glad we got the technical issues sorted out, Chris.
Oh, my God, yeah. I was a little ready to pull the rest of my hair out, even though it's very, very short. But, you know, I was going to get tweezers and pull each hair follicle out.
Noodle says he was stuck in the boulder field
Oh.
or rock field for the last hour. Yeah, the last video I uploaded. Yeah, it's amazing, Noodles.
I haven't had a chance. You just posted that today, didn't you? Just before you and I were doing this test run, didn't it? I think you just posted
Yeah,
one today.
about 3 hours ago, yeah.
Okay, yeah. That's about right. Let's see. Course is in there. Renee Vaughn's in there. Mr. Noodles, what's going on? Third Eye Open. Garfield Show. Let's see. Photography Like Magic, what's going on? He's saying, hi, Chris. Jean, hope you are both well.
I see all the usual suspects are there. Elaine,
Oh, yeah.
Mimi. Hey, this is good.
Make this page a hair bit bigger. I can see what the
I
hell
see
I'm looking
Jos
at.
made it. Jos is there as well.
Oh, yeah. Michael Mertz in there. Mertez. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right. Please do not shoot me. John Beck's in there. Let's see. MG Toe, what's going on? He said, I'm so excited to be here. Well, we're excited to be here, too. We love sharing the Friday evening with you guys. DB Property Maintenance, what's going on? Let's see. MG Toe says, thumbs up, everyone. Everybody's jumping in there. Hit that thumbs up.
I think I'll do that too. There we go.
Jonathan Waddell, what's going on? Good to see you in there. Hello, Chris. There's John Ward. Everyone else. Joss D's in the house. Mimi Reacts is in there. Bud Norton. Oh, yeah. All the smooth
Hello,
criminals.
Renee.
Elaine Walls, good evening to you, or good morning. I forgot exactly where you're at, but I think you're I think you're overseas. I could be wrong. I got so many people in here, man. It's like 1 minute you go, yeah, that one's from the West Coast. No, I'm not. I'm in the UK. Oh, shit. Like, Neil Homer, what's going on? It's been a long time. Missed these. Glad to be back. Well, good to have you back. Alien Tenno, what's going on? It seems like you changed your avatar. Imagine that. Shanna Emerson, she said, hi, Chris. I'm glad to see your live show for the first time from Alaska. Well, good to have you in there. Is it cold up there right now? Or is it kind of like going to, like we're going into right now? We're going into our fall season. And she's coming in with a vengeance. So, Archetype Net, what's going on? Good to see you in there. Oh, yeah. We're all jumping in there. Oh, so what have you been up to, Jean? We finally got this guy's. I'll just say this real quick before he answers. It was my fault on my end, and not directly because the last 2 weeks we tried to get him on here. It wasn't his fault at all. What it was is like we kept checking into our Skype and saying, well, I got everything turned on. It's working. What's going on here? But like everybody else knows, every time you get an update, whether it's on your phone or on the computer, I got a update on my computer. But here's the problem with it. It automatically knocked everything back into, like, basically factory settings. And I don't mean, like, everything on my computer, but, you know, just when I went into, like, you have to ask for permission for each of these apps to either use the camera or your microphone, and guess what happened? Skype was off, so he could see me, but he couldn't hear me. So we got it, basically it's default, Noodles, if you will, but yeah, because he said no fault. But so yeah, it ended up going back to default. So I went on there and said, "Oh my God, this thing's it's basically unchecked." So we definitely turned it back on, able to get it working. I then got back with Jean and said, "Hey, I think I got this thing working. I think we're good." So yeah. But anyway, how you been, Jean?
Chris, doing well, man. Been on my knees, hands and knees, searching for anomalies. Found lots of nuts and bolts. The usual suspects, I could say. And I've sent you a couple of interesting articles we can have a look at as well, especially the one that went unnoticed, I think, the one about anti-gravity. That's real.
Yeah.
And the issue is just about scaling the technology. And for some other reason, it didn't make headlines. It's rather strange.
Yeah, surprise, surprise.
Mm. So I don't know if you've. How are you going to share it there, Chris? Can you bring it up on the screen?
Oh, yeah. Oh, let's see.
Okay.
Just want to address a couple of these other ones that jumped in.
I see we've got a delay of about 15 seconds or something like that.
It will. It's like anywhere between 15 and 20 seconds. You'll see that.
It's rather strange.
Well, you get that lag. You know how that goes. But I'm
We're
just
living
happy
in
to
the future.
be on here, so that's good. You're right, Third Eye Open. It's all my fault. You said it's all your fault, Chris. You're absolutely correct. Well, things happen, you know. But like I said, it was funny because, like I said, I went in there. I said, "Well, they shouldn't have to do this again. It's already been done." But then when you go into it, like I said, you look at this thing and you know, let me just check it just for the heck of it. I'll be darned. And I go in there and I said, "Man, let me turn this thing back on." Wasn't too happy, but at least we figured it out. Andy Hughes, what's going on? Evening, Chris. Nice to see you, Mr. Ward, and with you too. There you go.
I see one of your subs is asking if I can zoom in closer on my orbital photographs. Oh, I can try, but the images will break up badly. We'll see what I can do.
Yeah, I mean, I have that sometimes too, but my biggest thing is that, you know, you have a tendency to really have the photo break up, and that's what I'm trying to avoid because, as you guys know, whether it's just a single photo or a pan, a lot of these things are not good, man. I mean, they're not clear like they should be. So, yeah, you really run into that problem, and then and to boot, then you get it kind of like so zoomed in that to get like these compression artifacts, it's blurry, then basically it looks like a piece of trash on the monitor. We don't want that. We want it to be as clear as possible if we can, you know. So, yeah.
I'll see what I can do. As I say, I'll try, but it's going to break up quite badly.
Exactly. Bobby Pentland, good to see you. And he said, good to see both you guys together. And Metalhead also says hello, Chris and Jean.
I see Ian Wentworth is asking if there are any scouts in the house tonight. I was a Boy Scout. I guess that's why I'm always hunting for anomalies. Like any good Boy Scout, huh? Anti-grav in the news.
Let me jump down here real quick. All right. So, everybody seems to be in there. Anti-grav in the news. That's what Noodle says. Quantum entanglement may bend space-time so that this tic-tacs transverse the cosmos instantly. So what happens when all time and transport costs go to zero? Interesting. But let me show you what he's talking about. And
yeah, that was a transcript. It's a transcript from a low Dobbs CNN.
Yeah, I had to come down here and look for it.
Yeah, it's the second last article on
that
web page.
Yeah. So I was looking at this, and in fact, see, we can't see. Jean will actually turn my face off too for a second. And you can see it right here. I'm going to make this screen bigger here if we can. Okay. And you can see right here it says Dobbs coming up next, the 9 miners rescued and blah, blah, blah. But then it says just below that, Boeing works towards the use of anti-gravity to send spaceships to the stars. We'll have a special report for you. And of course, then it said talking about an asteroid that'll be coming close to Earth for us all to watch through our binoculars. Now, I'm not sure when this was actually.
I think this
is an older article, aired August 5th, 2002. So, if you really think about it, how far have they come along with this? You know, this anti-gravitics. And to me, to be truthful with you guys, we all know they already have this. Come on. You know? We know they've got it. What do you think? Do you think they've had it forever or quite a while there, Jean?
Well, go to the bottom of the page, Chris. They've got the full transcript there, where they actually talk about that anti-grav is real, but the issue is scaling the technology.
Right, right. I think it says right here, begin videotape, and it says Steve Young, CNN financial correspondent, and it says voiceover. And then it says that at its Phantom Works in Southern California, where Boeing pursues applied technology projects, the largest aerospace manufacturer in the world has been looking into hardware that shields against the forces of gravity. If anti-gravity works, it would take thousands of pounds of fuel to lift a spacecraft. The spacecraft would weigh much less or nothing, and anti-gravity could drive it to the stars. So,
okay, then where does it say? He confirmed that Boeing believes that the science was valid and that it really was an issue of scaling the science, engineering the science to see if it was workable.
yeah.
So there they say, basically saying that they believe it's real and they just need to scale the technology to make it workable.
Right.
That's how I read it, yeah. So I think they've been into anti-gravity since the 50s. But as we can see...
I like the way it says right here. It says, experts say anti-gravity might also be harnessed to create weapon systems that could knock satellites out of the sky. This is the way mankind is, man. We can't just have everything for good. It's always got to be about, we got to kill somebody. I mean, what is going on here?
I know.
I just don't understand it.
So I think they've had anti-grav technology for decades. And I'm surprised that this actually featured on CNN 2002. And look at CNN now. I don't think they'll cover a story like this. But anyway, that's just what I think.
Let's see. Oh, we want to also check with any kind of question. James Cragen, thank you very much for your support, sir. It is always appreciated. Thank you very much. Hi, Chris. Hi, Jean. Great to have you both on the Hangout tonight. Also, Chris, the Mars video this week has a lot more in that background under the NASA blur. Absolutely agree with you. If you notice, I had done the right-hand side and haven't done really a whole lot on the left because I was looking at the background. The background was more important to me than the front, although the foreground had a lot to share, right? It had a lot in there we could check out. The left-hand side, for some reason, you could tell it was manipulated, censored, the whole 9 yards, but it wasn't like, the right-hand side was, right? So a lot of real cool stuff, and that's from a real old photo. Yeah, and being it's from the Spirit, it's old. I mean, these things went up there on 2004, 2005, and, and then Midnight Planets actually put it on there in 2009. But these, because they went into sol after sol after sol until finally they, come up to that sol, and of course they posted it. Real interesting stuff here, guys. I mean, I find it cool because, again, it's like a crackerjack box. You don't know what you're going to find in these photos until you really start to rip them apart. Kind of like with Jean, the same thing you do. Sometimes you can look from far away on a photo, a satellite photo, and go, okay, I've seen a couple of stones, some boulders, big deal, and then you move on. But if you were to really go in there and really intensely look at these photos, man, you'd be surprised what you can find, right?
Correct. I see one of your subs is asking if I've done orbital photographs of the anomalies that you cover in your videos. And yes, I have. But unfortunately, most of those in the Rover photographs are too small to show up in the high-rise photos for some other reason. At 25 centimeters per pixel, you'd expect to see at least a couple, But even the Rover looks small when it's photographed at 25 centimeters per pixel. I think they're fudging those photographs. But in general, the anomalies that you and Jimmy and Joe look at are too small to show up in high-rise photographs. I've taken a look, but that doesn't work.
Oh,
Chris, I don't know. Do you want to check out those the InSight lander blue sky thing with the Jezero?
Yeah,
and the Jezero anomalies.
Yeah, well, yeah, depending on how you pronounce it, Jezero Crater, Jezero, whatever, Jezero, whatever. But what I find interesting is that John and I were talking about this. Now, he has it on his site, and I'm going to show it to you in a second here, where it's cool because remember we had talked about the Insight, and it was just wild because when it first landed, got its very first photo to show up here on Earth, and it was in NASA Control Center. It came up, and of course, it was all speckled on the lens, blue sky, and it's funny because let's just jump right into the site because this is cool. And it's not like something I haven't shared before, right? But you can see this here. I'll just say this real quick. Thank you very much, Louis Longbeard. Much appreciated as always. Thank you for your support. Hey, Chris. Hope you are well. Hey, Chad. I'm sure Jean's doing good. We're all doing good here. I hope you're doing well. So anyway, here's the photo that he has, and you guys can find this, and you guys will get all the links to, every link and every page we use here. You'll get it in the Hangout once it's processed on YouTube. You guys know that. But you can see right here, Mars Anomalies, but it's Mars Anomalies and more, and this is Jean's page. And you can see right here, Mars 2020 Rover mission, canals, dams, and is the Martian Sky Red or Blue. And of course, you guys have seen this photo, and I've done videos on there, right there. And you can see, this is cool. Let me go ahead and zoom into this a little bit if I can. There we go. So here it is. And you can see the first picture coming out of there. My question was, and Sean, you and I talked about this. Let me go ahead and get my mug off this thing so we can actually see these pages a little better. I said, okay, I get the idea of dirt being kicked up and everything else. First of all, if it was dust, why would it stick to the lens? But let's just go with it anyway. But then the next photos, no dust. So we were trying to figure out how it got cleaned off. So was it, how did it get cleaned off? The only thing I can think of is maybe small little airlines that are like attached to the camera just above the actual lens. And all you got to do is like, and give it a burst of air and clear it off. But I'm thinking if it's very clear, and it's only, and most of these things are probably only microns in size, right? If it's dry, why would they still remain on the lens? My thing, and Jean, you remember we were talking about this, where I said, to me, no, this was actually a filter they put on, so when you got the very first photo, it was speckled so you couldn't see anything in the distance in case this thing opened up right away and you've seen a structure or something of that sort. But everybody says in there, and you can see where Jean has put this up here. Jean, if you want to take this away, go ahead and do that.
Okay, Chris, you'll see beneath this photograph is one where I've applied the NASA red filter.
Mm-hmm.
And that's theoretically showing the difference between real color and what would happen if you apply this red filter to a real world photograph.
Yep.
And that's what it looked like. It's terrible. I don't know if you want to read that quote that Bob Manning, chief engineer of NASA, during the InSight lander, when it was just landed,
yep,
and the first picture came through, he said something, and it's at the top of the page.
Yeah, you'll see it in a second.
Actually,
you can. Well, I don't know if you got it in front of you, but I've got it already up there so everybody can see it.
Okay, I don't see it yet.
No, I know, because you'll have that little bit of a difference.
That's a transcript of what he actually said. Obviously, we can't play it on the channel in case of copyright strikes, but that's what he said.
All right, there it is right there if you want to read it.
Oh, there it is. You can see a better view. You can see that really is debris. And there's the horizon back there. The bluish sky, that's part of the lander deck on the front left. I can't take out, but it looks like there's not a lot of rocks in the field of view. How's that for changing the subject?
Oh, no, and the funny thing about it is, now, go ahead and tell me what you thought about the guy that's standing directly in front of that screen.
Oh, he looks angry. He looks very angry, and he's on a cell phone. And I think he's losing his cool a bit. Where's the red sky? Bring up the red sky quickly. He looks very upset. I don't know if it's just me, but...
No, he does. I mean, it's actually what do you call it? It's like the other guy's got. He's got one of those headpieces where it's got that microphone that comes around the side. But regardless... Yeah. He looks like he's not happy. Like, guys, where's the red filter? Where's the red filter? And you could just see the look, the determination on his face.
He doesn't even look at the screen. He He's looking away. And body language, I don't know. It says to me he's a little upset.
But even in
I'm
the
only
second photo you
speculating.
show here, the second one down, it does actually already have although you applied the filter to the whole photo, you could still
You
see
can
in the
see-
background on that monitor, it is in fact red. Like I said, it was not even 10 seconds later, because everybody's in
Yes.
there going, oh, wow, look, blue sky, blue sky. And like I said, that woman, she was sitting there going, wow, look, blue sky. And all of a sudden, not 10 seconds later, boom, red filter came on. I'm like, oh, my God, are you kidding me right now? It goes to show you, it's
see-
absolute proof that the sky is blue.
Mm.
Yep.
You see what happens when you put the red filter on? It messes things up totally.
Yep.
Even the detail in the control room is lost
Yep.
when
You
you
can see
apply
the
that
difference
red
in it.
filter. So that's why NASA puts it on.
Yep.
It's to obfuscate. It's to obfuscate, Chris.
Well, maybe that's what
That's
it
what
is. It kind of it messes with your eyes in a big way too. And other than, like, I mean, it completely throws off that guy that's standing next to him. The one that's got his hands on that panel, where you can see like his pants are now like a brownish, like a light brown or reddish, where they're actually gray at the top photo, the normal photo.
Mm.
Mags K,
Yeah.
thank you very much for your support. It's always appreciated. He said, Chris, I'm not sure what it says, pub out of bounds, so I'll send you this. Oh, okay, cool. Thank you very much, as usual. You guys are awesome. Yeah, so go ahead.
Let's go down to the 2020 landing site. It's further down this page, Chris. And these strange canals or trenches,
Yeah, let's drop way
or I don't
down
know,
here.
walls. And they're 5 meters wide. It's like a uniform width.
Yep.
Each of these things, and they intersect at right angles, even T-junctions.
Yeah, we're on there right now. At least I'm showing that.
It's not okay because of the lag. I can't see.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'll just tell you when we're on it. This way you'll know, because we're talking
And
real
you'll-
time, you and I, but then it gets lagged over to them.
I think click on those images too, Chris. Then I can see what those look like in context.
All right, so what I do is
Actual
I clicked on the very top one, and you can see them. I
Yeah.
mean, they're perfectly. You see the main line running from the very top left to the bottom right, but you look at the very intersecting one in the middle. Are you kidding me? It's perfect. It's like can geology do that? I mean, look at the way that thing is perfect right across from one side to the other. Let me see something here.
It looks like trenches or canals, but the distance between the ridges is 5 meters, Chris, and it's uniform throughout this region. All these canals or trenches, whatever they are,
Yep.
and you can see there's a circular depression.
Well, I'm looking at the
That's,
right there. I'm going to enlarge it right in the very center one, the one that crosses it in the middle. And you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 little dots perfectly in a row. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And you'll see that on the screen as I point them out. I'm going to zoom right into it. And you can see right to the other side, meaning the top side of that main canal, we'll call it. There seems like there's these 5, 6 dots right in a row perfectly. And I'm thinking, what can do that? Like, you know, we were talking earlier, and I think I called it like it almost looks like it might have been some kind of water canals where they were channeling the water. Because if you look at this photo, I'm going to back out of it now, because this one here doesn't show it, but I will show you guys in a second. If we jump over to, I'm going to go to the next one down, the second one down. You can see on the right-hand side that appears to be, that might have been water there at some point. And look how far these canals go to. Look at this. It literally looks like it could have been easily fed off of this water stream, whatever the hell this was, this body of water. Look at that. Now, is that possible? I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah. Well, look, they were their landing. I mean, that was a fan. What do they call it? Where a tributary, where the water flowed out into this vast
Yep.
plain,
Yep.
and that's where they're landing. But unfortunately, they're going to be driving way past this site So we won't even be able to have a look at these trenches or whatever they are close up, which is a real pity.
Yeah. Well, you and I both know they're probably going to be doing more than that. I mean, let me just see something here. I'm looking into this. There's something here first I saw in here in this crater. Let's have a look at that first.
If it was natural geology and the surface had cracked up after it dried out, you'd expect if there's a meteorite impact over one of those lines, like in the previous photograph you showed, that line would still be visible, but the bottom of the circular depression is clean. There's no crack through it, unless it was covered over in sand. But I speculate these might have been some type of canal system, maybe, for agriculture, because there was lots of water in this region.
Yep. Well, I'm looking at, I don't know about you, but I'm looking at this crater right here. And at the very bottom, like at about the 5 o'clock position, it looks like a white structure sitting right there. I'm going to zoom in because it's going to have, it's a little bit zoomed in. It's not going to be major, but this is as much I can zoom in. If anybody's got their magnifier, look at this one right here in the middle, and I'm actually showing it. I don't know if you can see it yet, Jean, but like I said, at the 5 o'clock position in that crater, there's what looks like a white, if you're, what's the name of that, I'll think of it in a second. That don't really matter. But it's almost like an L-shaped structure. It's white, and then it has something look like they try to go over it with like a air, whatever, air brushing, whatever it is, they can block this up. But right here, unfortunately, this is as much as I can zoom into it. But that's it right there. And I'm thinking, what the hell is that? Something's there. There's a structure. And look at the, I just noticed these. Look at that. On the top or on the 2 o'clock position, on the edge of that crater. Oh, there's something all over this crater, man. There's something. Now, what I want to do is I want to back out a little bit because I was actually getting some artifacts, too. We don't want that. But I swear to God, if you look all around the left-hand side, you can see what looks like little white squares. And they're not compression artifacts because I can back way out and still see these with my magnifier. I can still see those.
I'm going to have to take a look at this, a re-look at these things, Chris.
Yeah, I'm telling you, I can almost guarantee these are two things. One, they're actually roadways or they were water canals to come from the body of water, which I believe was down here. Now, they can claim, no, this is more of a desert, but I'm seeing like a wall, a drop-off, where the land stops and the water would actually start, where you can see these almost looks like dunes, but we don't know if this is like the very bottom of a lake bed or some kind of river. Well, let's get some input from the subs there. What do you think?
Yeah.
What do you guys think? What are we seeing here? Let me just back out of this photo a little bit. Okay. Get your input here. What do you think is going on here, guys? What are you seeing here? Do you think this is natural, what we're seeing here? What looks like canals? Especially when you get this one, it's completely perfect, going right across. And as you said, would you say they're like 5 meters across?
Yes.
Okay.
And it's like a uniform measurement or size. Look at the next photograph if you can, Chris. That one shows these things intersecting at right angles and T-junctions.
Okay. I'm going to jump down the next one down. And there we go.
Okay, I'll just wait for it to pop up. In the meantime, I'll read the chat.
Yep. Get their
Hi,
input.
Phil. It's nice to meet you as well. Phil was asking if I'm also a researcher. Yes, Phil, I've been doing Mars Anomalies research for almost 3 years now. Nice to meet you as well.
Somebody just said something that was pretty funny. I'm not going to find it now because it just jumped on me here. I hate it when it does that. Let me see if I can find it. Oh, Elaine, she put, haha, she laughed. She said, turn the room and people read. Way to go, way to gaff it, NASA. No, this is actually, Elaine, this was something that Jean has put on there. That wasn't NASA that did that. He was trying to give you an idea of what it would look like if you were to throw a red filter on top of something and what it would look like. So it wasn't NASA that had done that, but regardless, I think it's a good idea to do that, Jean, because it gives you an idea how much it throws off colors, and things look more like let's say it's a dark reddish, like a rusty color, or lighter rusty. you don't really see colors unless you look at the screen on the wall, right? You see colors, but they're so skewed, man. They're just so, they're just not right. And maybe they found a perfect color that screws with people. I mean, as far as your eyes and everything. I don't know.
Yeah, if you look at, you lose detail. When I applied that red filter, everything in the control room, sort of the detail was lost.
Yeah.
It even messes the contrast, everything. It's a terrible color. But anyways, Chris, I'm going to take a quick nature break.
All right.
I'll be back in half a minute. Okay, I'll see you guys now.
Let's see. Let me back out here a little bit. And there you go. There you go, Mimi. You said it's a Martian Highway. It actually kind of does. And let's say it's not. Let's say it's not a roadway of anything. It seems to be like just walls. But I mean, they're literally like almost perfect, like he says, all the way up and down this. Now, of course, over a course of years, it'll start to disintegrate, whatever. If these are truly walls, these things will start to come apart or get covered up or whatever the case is. But look at that. I mean, from top left to bottom right, they almost look identical in width.
I'm back.
He's here.
And they intersect at T-junctions.
Yeah. Yep.
It's funny. It really is strange.
Yeah,
but I think you're right. There might be small structures that are missed.
Well, I mean, you got to really look at it. Here's a weird thing. You got to get that combination of, I want to zoom in as far as I can go, but I don't want it to pixelate, because then you're going to bring out compression artifacts, and you're going to say, oh, those are structures. No, they're not. So you want to go in far enough to where you don't start to see the compression marks, and when you do, back out, and then use your magnifier. And what's crazy is you see these things. I'm looking at the top right, top left, rather. I'm sorry. I'm looking at the top left, and I'm saying, okay, a lot of those look like stones. I don't see anything of any value there. I don't know why the power just flickered in here, but okay. Yep, that was
Chris,
weird.
There's actually a diagonal running through that site as well. I don't know if you can see it. It's towards the top right. It runs from the top.
I seen that.
And it's almost at 45 degrees. And then there's smaller trenches.
Yes, you can see them right there coming down next to it.
What the hell?
And you can see them coming down. It looks like it's going into these main ones here in the middle of the screen. And they just kind of like either got sand blown and over time and got covered up. It's kind of like a roadway. Like what would happen, if every roadway around here, man just, basically was off the planet. What would happen to these roads and train tracks and anything like that? Wouldn't some of it get covered up over the course of time?
You know what? It looks like these might have been main tributaries, or whatever you call it. And then these smaller ones.
Yeah.
Branched off, and they got smaller and smaller and smaller, like farming, agriculture.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. First time I seen that, I thought two things. Well, I thought roads, but then I went, wait a minute, this is going towards the water, but that doesn't mean anything. I mean, we've got roads that go to beaches, right? So it's a very good possibility that's what happened, right?
What the heck?
Let's see what we got here. Let me see. Nathan Bond, what's going on? He said, good evening, everybody. Mr. Wayne's in the house. Mark Matheny's in the house. Oh, yeah. Yeah, they're all showing up in there. Of course, they were probably in there for quite a while, so. Elaine Millard's in there. He said, reminds me of Paddy Field's layout with canals between. Not all fields are square. This is true.
I see James Cregan says it reminds him of the Nazca lines in Peru.
Yes. Yep.
It could be.
Renee Cruz says the same thing. Nazca lines, Mars.
Interesting.
Robert Grace is in there. Good evening, all. What's going on, Robert? Patriots Rising says with fittings. Who else we got there? Cameron Davis is in there. What's going on, Cameron?
I see Mimi React says it looks like the fields in post-war Germany, bomb craters everywhere.
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
yeah.
It does. Interesting.
Cosmic says, I see so much. Again, guys, we can say, well, let's say this is all natural and, it's nothing of any value on there. Again, always take a look at the smaller items all the way around it. Like I said in that other prior photo, and like I said, you guys will get this link to this page. You guys can study this and eyeball it. And just, like I said, you can click on the photo, any one he's got here. Let me click off this thing. And we go down to the next one here. This is the next one down from that one. And it's pretty much almost the same thing. You can see it's a little bit wider. I love this photo here, and I'll tell you why. That one you were talking about on the upper right, Jean, when it looked like it was a little bit more faded away. Look at the way those connect. They look like an A shape. Now I'm going to just bring this over, and you'll see this in about 20 seconds. And wow, it looks like an A. I'm going to put it right in the middle of the page. Look at the way these things are laid out. They look like roadways, and they're connecting. Now, is it roadways? No way to even vet any of this, guys. We all know that. Is it possible those are some kind of water channels or whatever? What do you guys think of that?
And look at the uniform spacing.
Yeah.
It's 5 meters throughout.
Yep.
So how can that be natural? If it was a dried out lake bed, you'd expect to see a couple of cracked up little blocks here and there. But these things are massive. It's a massive scale.
Yeah.
And then that trench is 5 meters wide.
Now, do you see that kind of, you see the faded ones? It looks like an A right in the middle of the page. If you look carefully, you can see it going up. This is the one we were seeing. You said, oh, look at the one on the right and on the top. But look at the way it comes off, man. It's like a giant A. It literally connects one from the other, just a little bit down from the point of them. That is really bizarre. I'll bet if you really took this photo and add some contrast, you'd see a whole lot more to this. A whole lot more to this.
It's mind-blowing.
And these do, in fact, make their way down. If you look at the bottom, and I just moved it down, you'll see at the very main channel, coming from upper left all the way down to the right, you can see how it gets smoother, and they're almost faded out, but they do branch off, and they come down to this actual coastline. I'm going to call it a coastline. It kind of looks like you'd have water down here, and of course we get the land. And check that out. It literally comes down, and you can see them making their way to this, like I said, I'm going to just call it some kind of, we'll call it a beach, just for the heck of it, right? But
yeah, it is on the edge. It is on the edge of that plain.
Do you think there was water down there in the lower right, or do you think this was just another part of just dry land?
No, I think there was water there.
And that's what I'm thinking, because I'm looking at this thing, and you can see like this fall off from the edge there. It falls off, and then there would probably be water there. And what we're seeing is they put dunes there instead of what may have been there. Or this is just what accumulated over a course of time after the water disappeared.
Yeah, I think this was some type of swamp. It could have been something like swamp. Not swamp gas. Swamp.
I just got to say the same thing. You took the words right out of my mouth. Swamp gas. Oh, my God, that's too funny.
And Chris, we're looking at a weather balloon here. What the heck?
Oh, that's what it is. See? Oh, my God.
Hey,
God, we're fools. I can't believe that. That's what it is. It's a down weather balloon. The whole area. It's a huge balloon. Who else we got in there? Mauricio Rojo, what's going on? You said, hi, Chris, Jean, and all. Hugs from Brazil. Thank you for your jobs. Well, thank you very much, Mauricio. Good to have you on board, as always.
Thanks, Mauricio. And then the comment was made that this looks more like a machine made this, a big machine.
Well, could very well be.
I don't know. Until we get boots on the ground.
Yeah,
as I say, I volunteered to go, and I'm still here. So I'm not.
Didn't take you up on it, did they?
I can only show you what I find. Chris, I don't know.
You said it's a farming region to me. That's what he wrote. Let me see where. Mimi, you said, look at the dots. Again, if you look at these little things, a lot of them, I'm sure they're just natural, just boulders, nothing there to see. But I find these channels, or whatever they are, very interesting because some of them are like perfectly straight across from each other. Now, can nature do that? Yes, because it depends if the ground cracks, it just happens to be perfect. But intersecting that way, I don't know. Honestly, guys, what do you guys think? Do you think that's all natural? And you guys could be honest. This way we like it. We like honesty. Do you think it's all natural? Do you think something else done that? Especially when I showed the other one, it was like intersecting perfect from one side, hit the center one, and right off to the other side, absolutely perfect. And like Jean says, they're like 5 meters apart. That's insane. What is that, like 12 feet or something like that? What is that?
Yes.
Yeah, so we're talking roughly.
Yes.
Yeah, because 3 meters is 10 feet, so my conversion's not exactly 100%, but I'm guessing somewhere on there.
Yeah, I think you're right.
250 Saber, he said, glad to get in here for a few minutes, Chris. Always love your shows, lad. Well, I appreciate you there, 250 at Saber. Definitely appreciate you.
I see Robert Gray says, crowdfund Jean's trip to Mars. But I think you should go as well. And I think all of us in the chat should go to
You know
Mars.
what? That would be awesome. If they did ask me tomorrow, and I told my wife this, I said, I'd go. She goes, oh, thanks.
Yeah.
I said, what do you mean, oh, thanks? She said, oh, you'll probably never come back. I said, okay. I said,
Yeah, what's wrong with that? If it's
like,
a one-way trip, I'll go.
if they guaranteed me that I would live on the planet, meaning you will have no problem, we'll make sure that you live. In other words, oxygen, food, whatever it is you need, I'd go. Now, she said, well, what happens if you don't come back? Well, I'm sure the astronauts going to the moon thought maybe there could be an incident where they could die from it, or they'd be stuck on the moon or whatever. Of course, I'm sure they had something they can eat that would kill them instantly. But regardless of that, if you got there and you said, well, hell, I can eat and everything, I'd go.
Yeah. Chris, do you want to cover the next topic?
Let me see. Hold on, let me see what we got here.
The one with the AI that makes it easier to identify new impact craters.
Well, I just want to see this
and
here.
How that tech can help us find anomalies if we could get our hands on it.
Oh, yeah, most definitely. All right, so let's see. Is it the one I showed you?
No. We can have a look at that one too if you like.
Oh, you're talking about the Milestone. SciTech Daily. It says milestones for planetary scientists as AI helps discover fresh craters on Mars. I'll put it up there so everybody can see it first. And of course, you can tell me if you think it's the one. Alien Deno. Chris, the wife. Here's the credit cards, passwords, etc. She's already got those. She's good.
Elaine says we should remember to take our pogo sticks.
Oh, yeah.
And then Noodles would obviously want to do pole vaulting, as far as I can remember.
yeah, exactly.
Imagine.
Yeah.
We'll all be superheroes.
Yeah, well, it's just like it's like John Carter, right? The movie.
Yes.
FIF, I guess it's fifth, or FIF 90 said last two lines in the last pick look like trenches. And that was on the other photo, of course. Yeah, absolutely, man. It's just, wow. It's the first time machine learning has been used to find previously unknown craters on the red planet. So if they can do that to find these craters and all this other stuff, is it possible the AI can also block out things that are intelligently made? And I think overwhelming yes.
Absolutely. But I mean, Chris, if we can get a hold of this software, we can easily customize it to help us find anomalies.
I agree.
That would be great. Because I spend hours and hours and hours. And then 95% of the stuff I find, I just have to reject.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've also got a daytime job, so I understand. It's a very time-consuming thing, this.
Yeah, it could be, It's like you literally had to take all your time up until you can get this thing perfected, get the bugs worked out, this, that, and the other. And it's like, does anybody have that kind of time?
Well, I see it as not a mission, but this is why I was meant to be here, is to find these things. This is how I look at it.
Yeah.
I've always asked, what is the purpose of my life? And I think this is it.
Could very well be. Well, you find your calling, but yeah, I mean, it's a little late in life, but that's good.
Exactly. Just in time to hand this over to Noodles. I think he's still young enough to take over from us, Chris.
There you go. That's the way I look at it.
Or everyone in the chat.
Yeah,
I would encourage you all to have a look at these photographs and actually see what else I can find there. Because obviously, I miss things.
Yeah. Let's see. What's going on there, Mr. Corey? Mr. Bush Corey's in the house. You say, hi, Chris and Jean. Hope you're very well. Sorry I'm late. Hi, gang. How are you all? We're doing well here, Corey. Hope you're doing well. And don't worry about here being a little late, man. You're good. Let me see. Oh, there you go, Archetype Nat. You said, great mountain biking on Mars. Red Bull TV is totally there. Oh, my God.
We need a medic and a doctor, for sure.
There you go.
Because I can already see some of us are going to get hurt. like those astronauts on the moon. They'd fall over, then they can't get back up.
But it takes nothing to get yourself back up. They literally can just, boom, like kick their hands or like push real quick with their hands, and they're right back up. And
who was it that fell over like that? And he really struggled to get on his feet.
Yup. He actually went down again, and then he ended up finally getting back up.
I wonder what they did with all that dust and dirt on them when they got back inside the spaceship. Weren't they scared of viruses or bacteria or something?
I'm sure they thought about that, but for some reason, I think a lot of just the mission itself overran all of that. In other words, they were like, hell, we'll deal with it, and we'll deal with it later. You know what I mean? Like, they didn't care. It's like, and at some point, it's almost like it's like at the expense of the astronauts, right? What happens if they caught something they shouldn't have had, or when they take off their helmet or something like that, and somehow they're, basically get the stuff on their skin. Now, I know that they will take it off into a room, and of course they're in, they put them in some room there, so this way I can, I don't know if it's like decompression too, or some kind of, basically keep them, from everybody else. I think there's like a retrofitted, it looked like a Silver Stream, what do they call them, little campers, whatever. It was retrofitted in that aspect where they just had them in there for a while.
Yeah, I think they quarantined them.
Well, they quarantined them, but they also probably had like a clean room where they had to take all of the stuff off. And, of course, you got to shake it out and everything else. Because if you notice in some of them photos, they literally had dirt on them, but it was stuck to them. So they had damp clay. So there's definitely water on that moon. There's no doubt about it. Or some of them claim there's like a cloud of like a mist or something like that that's literally hovers the lunar surface. Now, how true that is, I don't know. But that's what I'm hearing. And if it is sticking to the suit, why would they do that? It's completely dry dust, like almost like a graphite, right? It should not be sticking to you unless it's wet.
I think it was Bruce Seasall that also mentioned that he sees what looks like moisture.
Yeah.
Or mist on the moon.
Yeah. And, it wouldn't surprise me because they're claiming now there is actually water on there. There's at least vapor and I think they've known this for a while, that there's some kind of moisture and some kind of a little bit of water there under the soil or in the, like I said, basically in the air. So it wouldn't surprise me.
No. I don't know, Chris, do you want to bring up the next article? Because you've been quite stagnant on this learning the landscape page.
Yeah, we got to learn it. Let's see what else we got here. Well,
please, man. Let's see if we can just keep it interesting.
All right. So we had the transcripts. We did that one there. Okay. So this one here, this was interesting. Why astronauts want to build SETI or a SETI observation on the moon. Now, I think right off the bat, common sense would tell you, and I was talking with Jean there before we jumped in. There was a few hours before that, after we were doing some tests on the equipment here, make sure we were working good. And it just goes without saying, right? If you got a radio telescope on the moon, what's the chance of having interference, as far as on the Earth itself? You got it on the moon, you wouldn't have that issue. So, and if they're on the other side of the moon, or pretty close to where it's not facing Earth, then there's a good chance you're not going to hear anything from Earth. So, of course, they will have, you'll definitely have sound from like pulsars and things like that, but still, you'll be able to pick it up a whole lot clearer. It'd be virtually no ground noise, unless there's some kind of magnetic or something or other on the moon where it'll interfere with. But even then, it's like literally be an electronic air, as I call it, and an air to listen outside. And you can't even imagine what they'd probably pick up out of there.
And especially if they put it on the side opposite to Earth, then there won't be any electromagnetic interference.
True.
Because the moon would be blocking it out.
Yeah.
I think that makes perfect sense. That would be the perfect spot for it.
Oh, yeah, and I totally agree. It's kind of like when they, what was it, China's, I'm trying to remember if it was the Chang 3 or Chang'e, depending on how you want to pronounce it. It was either 3 or 4, where the lander itself actually had a camera on it, but it had a telephoto lens. Now, I don't remember if it was it was more of like a telescope instead of a camera. So why would you need that on the moon? Because they want to look either past, the moon and outward, or they're using it to look at the Earth itself and what could be around the Earth. Who knows, right? So I find it really interesting,
Very. And it's intriguing that there's a small moon that's going around the moon.
Yeah.
It sounds like a little black night of its own around the moon.
Well, they said that too. They said.
So I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, they said it was, the black night supposedly was around Earth, and then it somehow it moved to the moon. Now I don't know how true that is, but if it did, then clearly that's not a thermal blanket, which I was telling you earlier that this weekend, like I said, my buddy Billy Carson's coming up. And we're going to do some recording and stuff like that for the new series or this documentary he's got coming out. So that's going to be interesting. That's going to be cool to do. In fact, I got all the questions right here to, he's going to ask me and stuff. So I'm going to enjoy that. It's going to be awesome. Be good to chill with him for a while. And who knows, maybe if we got enough time, maybe we'll do like a video there and I can have that for you guys as well. So, but I strongly believe that. I think the Black Knight was actually picked up by accident, because when you see the blanket out there, you can clearly see it's a blanket. And then you see something like in the darkness, and it doesn't look like a blanket at all. Because when you really bring up the exposure, it literally has a mass to it. It's thick. It's not just this flat blanket with a part of the material that covers the actual trunnion, what they call a trunnion pin. Trunnion pins were made and put on parts of the International Space Station, in other words, when they assembled it. So what these trunnion pins would do, they'd put them in the bays of these shuttles, and they would lock into the actual bay area so that they wouldn't move around inside the actual bay area. And one of those covers, I guess they were trying to fix it, and it flew off, and that was the end of that. It just went out into space, and that was the end of it. So I believe it is actually a blanket. However, what they also caught was not that. It was an actual craft. And like I said, I've got photos that show that, and, it does not look like a blanket. So, interesting.
Yeah. Noodles actually dropped a comment that the astronauts heard what sounds like music when they passed around the backside of the moon.
Yep.
Remember that?
Yep.
That's interesting.
Yeah, it's absolutely true. That's what they heard. It kind of like a woo, kind of weird haunting kind of thing. And they were checking their radio equipment and everything else. Nothing to be heard. I think they even asked Capcom at the time if they could hear it, and they said no, we don't hear what you're talking about. So they're not sure if it was coming through their radio or they were just hearing it in their ears. I don't know, but it was really interesting that part of it. I thought that was cool.
Very. It could have been radio frequency, or it could have been induced telepathically. I don't know.
That's hard to
Very
do.
interesting.
Mike Knapp, you're taking off. You said, got to go. We'll have to catch up later. Have a good one, everyone. All right, Mike, good seeing you in there, man. Thanks for stopping in.
Cheers, Mike.
Andy Hughes has said he could take its pick from all the observatories that's already on the moon. Well, that's true. I think they've got things up there. I mean, what would be the best way to hear or see without any kind of interference? So obviously, like again, radio telescope. You don't want any interference from radio signals or TV signals or, X-rays or any of that sort. You don't want any kind of interference. And of course, they filter that out, right? And it's so narrow banded on these frequencies that you don't hear like. And Jean, you'll know what I'm talking about. You won't hear birdies from other frequencies. You won't hear any kind of overlay of bleed over from other frequencies. So it's so narrow banded that they probably don't catch that. But there's a reason why, like when you go to the Green Banks Observatory, that they literally have X amount of area around the observatory. You cannot use your cell phone or anything. It's literally, it's a dead spot. You can't use a CB in that area, like a base station. You can't use any of that. It's completely blacked out. So if you were to go there, and that's definitely what I'm going to be doing soon if I can. Of course, this COVID crap is actually screwing with us, but you get the idea. I was going to actually do that last year, and of course we never ended up doing it. But now, of course, I want to go this year, and you see what happened. But, so if you're out there on the moon, what could possibly interfere with you? Nothing. So, yeah.
That's right.
See, now,
especially on the side opposite the Earth. That would be perfect.
Oh, it'd be absolutely awesome. If you read this, it says radio interference has been a problem for SETI from the very beginning. In the spring of 1960, the planetary scientist Frank Drake trained a massive radio telescope at Green Banks. Here we go. Just talking about it. Green Bank Observatory in West Virginia on Tau Ceti or Epsilon Eridani. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. 2 stars, a mere 12 light years from Earth. That summer, Drake spent his days studying the signals picked up by Green Bank's giant mechanical ear in the hopes of receiving a message broadcast by an alien civilization orbiting those stars. Known as Project Ozma, I think. Drake's experiment marked the beginning of SETI, the scientific search for extraterrestrial intelligence. So, yeah, I mean, it's like being on a regular radio. If you're sitting here listening to shortwave or anything, you want as much filtering as you can, especially if you hear, like if you're on sideband. Anybody who's on radio knows what I'm talking about. You want it as clear as you can. If you have like a bunch of electrical noise and ground noise, it literally comes up. And if you got a weak signal, it's really going to drown that signal out. So if you hear somebody talking, it's going to drown you out. So that's why they have all these noise blankers, A&L, automatic noise limiting. They have all of this kind of filters built into a radio to blank out most of that if you can and get rid of that noise so you can bring out the signals better. So you're better off with a better signal-to-noise ratio. This way you can bring it out. So that would be perfect. I think it would be absolutely perfect. If they're not already doing it, they're going to, and that would be awesome.
Yeah, I mean, you get interference from all the switching power supplies in the TVs, in our cell phones, the chargers. Those are all switching power supplies, and they make a hell of a noise on RF.
Oh, God, yeah. Yeah.
If you can get off-planet, all the better.
Yeah.
Yeah, Chris, it's interesting.
Let me see here. I don't know if you guys heard about the Osiris-Rex lately. The Osiris-Rex mission hit its jackpot in its science goals. Results published today reveal asteroid Bennu contains well-preserved organic materials. This means it's likely this sample we collect can tell us about the origins of life in our solar system. Now,
wow.
When you go to this video down here, she talks about it doesn't necessarily mean life. It just means carbon and hydrogen molecules that could be there. And you can see right here, it says, thanks for the questions. To clarify, we have not found life on Bennu. In chemistry, organic means molecules that contain elements of carbon and sulfur. And she also said hydrogen as well. The organics we found on Bennu may contain carbon in a form often found in biology or in compounds associated with biology. Now, when you go down and you read this down here, it's pretty interesting because what is it? This one puts right here, don't you dare, and it shows the blob. So it's, but this one here was pretty interesting. They said Panspermia, and if you heard who the hell? Oh, it's a school. So you got this Panspermia, yes. How do we know that life didn't start here and on Mars through an asteroid or some kind of body, going through space and then slammed our planet or Mars or anything? But if that's true, then where did that life originally come from? That's why if there's organics on there, and let's say they found a little bit of life, and I mean like organic life. If they found something on there like, let's say some kind of weird moss or something like that, or some kind of crazy little thing, then if there's life there, where did it come from? That's why there's no doubt in my mind we are not the only ones out here, period. That's just the way it is. Of course, there's a lot of research behind that. It's not just, just because of this article. But just judging by a lot of the research I've done, there's no way we are part of something much bigger. And I've always said this, and I swear I'm going to rip this phone apart in about 2 seconds.
I agree with you 110%, Chris. We definitely are not alone. And NASA knows it. I mean, Ellen Stofan on Ancient Aliens a while ago said, she said, within the next 10 years, we will confirm life on Mars. Oh, okay, I'm paraphrasing now.
Yeah.
But how can she answer so exactly? They must know that there's life there. That's what I can imagine. You can't go and say that as a scientist if you don't know that there is life there. That was a very interesting comment. And it also went largely unnoticed.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, let's see. What else? There's so many comments.
Let me see.
Oh, by the way, Chris, I found geometry on Osiris, on Bennu as well. Megalithic blocks with protrusions and knobs in their centers.
Oh, yeah.
And then there's that funny structure. You can see it there in the pic that you've got on the screen now. It's to the bottom center of the asteroid. But that thing from the side looks like a dolmen.
Oh, yeah.
And it's big. It's huge. I think it's 25 meters by about 12 meters. And it's elevated off the surface on the one side. And then it's got a protrusion or knob right on top of its center on the roof. It's the weirdest structure. And they don't show it up close.
Mm-hmm. Well, they probably have an up-close photo, but they're not going to show the public that. This guy's like, what? You can see that. That's pretty funny.
It sticks out like a sore finger, literally.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I've done it myself on these, on all of these, the two asteroids, and I find it amazing because they got a lot better photos of these things, and you can see where they literally had blocked these things out. They literally blurred them, used some kind of digital artifacting that can go over anything that's real fine, and blurring. Oh my God, the blurring is insane. It's like, wait a minute, guys, we're still at this. It's, again, if you're showing us raw to me means untouched. I could be wrong, but raw to me means untouched, straight from the camera, transmitted to Earth. Here you go, public. That's what raw means to me. Now, when you start fiddling around with a photo and you're censoring it and everything else, right off the bat, it's a red flag. I don't care what it is you're covering. Why are you covering it? There's no point in it unless there's a motive behind it. And that's nothing more than to hide something.
I agree. Absolutely, Chris.
James Cragen, you said, Chris, Jean, they heard it a couple of times. Now, I guess they were talking about that music they were hearing on the moon.
Yes.
And they also saw bright lights flashing on and off in some of the craters as they circled around the moon. That is recorded on NASA records. Well, not only that, remember we were discussing this, and in fact, I'm trying to remember, several of us were talking about this at one time, and Billy was one of them as well, but it said, basically the astronauts saying, wow, look at that down there in that crater, and they were describing what looked like structures, like square structures or blocks, and they said, and they were talking about those lights, and they said, man, it must be lonely down there. I bet they don't get out. Wait a minute, who the hell are they talking about? So, did they say, and this is literally a recording, And what I find really cool about that is like, okay, so they acknowledge there's somebody. Wouldn't that freak you out if you were some kind of astronaut on there and seeing this? So either they've been incredibly debriefed as far as what they're going to find. Like, you're going to see these weird things up there, but you're going to go up there and you're going to get some, well, dirt and rocks. Yeah, okay. Yeah, you can collect that for the public, which is, but in the real mission, what we want you to do is go into these ancient structures or these spacecraft that are on there and go ahead and collect what you can.
Yes, that was the brief.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
Yeah. Let me see. Let me jump down to the bottom here.
Chris, I wanted to say something else about the moon. Oh, man. I'll remember.
Just keep thinking moon. Just keep thinking that. Josh D, you said Chris and Jean on Instagram, there is Banu team, had lots of pics, not so blurred and really close up. I did see several of those, Josh. I seen them, but those were in areas that really wasn't anything there, because I looked and I said, man, I don't see anything there but what looks like rocks and boulders or whatever. So there was nothing of any value there. But when they showed like a big picture like we're seeing here on the screen, and you can see it says Nightingale, that's the site they call it, and they got the larger picture right there on the right. When you see stuff like that, or the whole darn thing, try zooming into it. What happens is, and I don't mean too much because you don't want to, again, blur it up and see compression artifacts, because most of these are JPEGs, which they stink. But the thing is, you want to see the real deal, so you don't want to go in too far, but you can see things, you easily see the stuff's been blurred out. I mean, without a doubt, it's been spot blurred here, and here. And then the rest of it's completely fine. It's clear. Wait a minute, how does a camera do that? I mean, unless, of course, something hit the actual lens, meaning like a little bit of water or something to blur that. But other than that, what's there to do that? There's no reason why parts of that picture should be blurred. Turklerin, didn't even know you jumped in there, man. You said, hey, guys, I have to go today. See you next time. Thanks, Turklerin. Arts and Crafts is in there. Your Highness is in there. Phil Cox with the daughters, Jesse and Kelsey Brown's in there. What's going on, everyone? I don't mean to avoid you guys. Just want to say hello. Again, we're just going through these findings that Jean and I had found. Chris Pickens, what's going on? He said, hello, Chris.
Good night, Andy Hughes. I see.
Is he jumping off too?
He's greeted us. He's jumped off.
James Cragen, thank you very much for your support as always. Chris, NASA ringing to try and shut down the show. Well, yeah, well, they can keep ringing. It's like, let's see. Everybody who hasn't hit that thumbs up, go ahead and do so right now. Bam. Hit it good. Let's see. Josh D said, yeah. He said, right, close-up of landing site, Chris. Yep.
They are blue chicken dogs on Mars. Excellent, Elmer.
Nice.
As long as they're not blue chicken people.
There you go. Yep. Noodles, 122 strong, he said. John Ward and Mars Anomalies and Beyond. Have a subscribe button. That's right. Go to each channel and hit the thumbs up, guys. Plus a notification bell, all for free.
Thanks, Todd. That's a cool one. I appreciate it. Thanks for the shout out.
Let me see. Pete Ferrero's in there. What's going on? If I haven't said hello to you, Pete, what's going on? Max K, you're right. You said it just shows there's something to hide. Absolutely. It's kind of like I said, even, if you were selling your car on like Craigslist and you see people put their thumb over it all the time, well, because they want to hide it. Common sense. Well, what other reason would you have to take a raw photo and censor it? There's no other reason but to hide something that's there. I don't care if it's simple organics. Forget anything else that might be totally intelligently made. Forget about that. Even if it's organics, because it doesn't fit, because we've been saying it's a dead planet, there hasn't been life in there for billions of years, or whatever they're saying. So, yeah, we can't show that. So, one way or the other, they're filtering it and censoring it and every other darn thing for a reason. There's a motive behind it.
James Cregan is asking if we believe that there'll be better quality pictures with the new rover. Will they be blurred out, sand, fake ones, etc.? I think that they'll be faked again. They'll be blurred. The red filter will be applied. Absolutely.
Totally agree. Totally agree. The well, I mean, and everybody's trying to find, and which reminds me, we're going to jump to this right here. This is the reason why they're selling that. It's not selling, but they're sending that helicopter to Mars. But check this out: a better way to search for traces of life on Mars and beyond. Hey, Mars Anomalies and beyond. Meet Organicam, an instrument that could detect biological molecules on other worlds. Now imagine that. So they're talking about this one here. I think this one was supposed to be going to, and we can read it a little bit in a second. Catching a ride on a drone, Organicam can swoop into lava tube caves on Mars to search for organic molecules marked by the telltale signature of life. So, yeah, is it possible this is the reason why they're putting the helicopter on there too? You know, to just go up and over things, go into maybe small lava tubes. I'm thinking they're going into structures. I'm thinking they're going up and over something really quickly that the rover cannot. In other words, they can't see this stuff fast enough. I think what they're doing is they're trying to, okay, we can't get over that hill, or we just want to look at this whole object that we want to see, like in a 3D version. In other words, map it out, and then we get a 3D version of it. Or they want to fly up or into it or over it or whatever they want to do that the rover cannot do by itself. And it makes sense. Drive up to something, okay, set it off, goes around it, goes over it, in it, whatever, comes back out. It's got, I think it's got 7-minute flight time. So it's enough to take a few photos, maybe map the thing real quick, and there you go. So I think that's the case. I think that's what they're really doing here. But this is interesting. Let's see.
So, Chris, do you think that the little drone or copter is outfitted with this technology that they're talking about here in this article? Maybe it is. Maybe it has that sniffer, and it's going to go there to sniff out life.
Well, I mean, there's no way of really knowing, because unless, of course, you read a scientific article on it. But, again, this one may not, because it's more or less to try it out. In other words, you know, so if it crashes and burns, you're not losing too much money on it, right? So it at least has, it's definitely got the camera on it. It's an HD camera. And it's got, it can navigate around things. So we know that. So in other words, it goes up and over things, whatever, won't crash into it, supposedly. And basically, like I said, it gets the information, it just relays it back to the rover. It takes the information, because think about it, if that thing should go up and it's flying around, it's probably sending this information like real time, you know, just, you know, maybe like a live feed going directly into the rover. Now, if the thing crashed and burned, it wouldn't matter. They already get the information on the rover. So the rover may be equipped with some kind of hard drive or some kind of solid state drive, where it can collect the information from this rover. And so, in other words, if it goes into a building or structure, or even to one of these lava tubes and goes in there, finds some kind of organic life, it's got it recorded. You know, so it doesn't matter what happens to the helicopter after the fact. They already got the information, right? That would be the way I would do it. That's what I do. Real time recording, relaying it to the rover. And if this thing should crash or whatever the case is, or it's fine. And then it gets the information. It then sends the information either uplinks to the orbiters or straight to Earth.
Yeah, do you know what I would do, Chris? I would send up a blimp, like a Goodyear blimp, just a smaller version of it. I mean, it takes up very little space. You fill it with gas once it's there. It's got solar panels on it that can recharge the battery to operate the motors. And it can steer itself around. And it can be in the atmosphere for ages. Mm-hmm. That's what I would do. Because, it won't, look, if the copter crashes, it's gone. Yeah. But a blimp is sort of more, squishy. For lack of a better word. Spongy.
Elaine Walls, thank you very much for your support. I do appreciate you. You know that. He said another super hangout. Thanks, Chris and Jean, for taking time out of your busy lives to do this. And big hugs to all the great people there. Thank you, Elaine. Much love to you.
Thank you. Thank you, Elaine.
Let's see.
Interesting.
Your Highness said the same thing. He said, Your Highness says they need a Mars blimp. Let's see. Blue Sunset. Go ahead.
I'll go and steer the thing for them.
Yeah, exactly. There you go. Even if it's remote control, as long as you're on the planet, right?
Yeah. As long
let's
as it doesn't
see.
have explosive gas.
Blue Sunset, you said, do you think they would tell us if they find microbial life? I actually do think they're going to do that. They're going to find it. And I think it's going to be either this year, as soon as this year, or next year. Meaning, well, I should say 2021. I think it'll be during that year, or it's going to, and I have faith that they'll find it this coming year. And if not, at the very least, 2022. Again, guys, because like you said, the woman was talking, oh, yeah, I have no doubt we're going to find some kind of life, and she's not saying maybe, she's saying we will. So, to me, it just makes sense. I mean, they already know it's there. I mean, come on, let's be honest. They've known this since 1976 with the Viking lander. Now, I said this before, the scientists are arguing back and forth that, well, no, they really didn't find life. Yes, they did. No, they didn't, back and forth. I think they did. I truly believe they did. And, so what they're doing now is BS. In other words, they're still saying they're looking for life. There's much more to it than that. I think they found everything they need to find out about Mars, but now they're just looking over what's left of an intelligent civilization that used to be there. That's what I think they're looking over. I think it's a reconnaissance mission, just like the moon was. What are your thoughts on that?
Oh my word! I see Mauricio says I must stop smoking. Am I on the screen?
No.
I don't think our video is on.
No, it's not.
Sorry, Mauricio, if it bothers you.
George Mayer, what's going on? You said, hi, Chris, and all. What's going on? William Mental Case Masterson, what's going on? You said, yo, what's happening?
Yeah, I see Noodle says Saturn Arc blimps.
Yep.
With 6 Ward drones on each, running Noodle's AI.
There you go.
Saturn Arc is one of my friends, Chris, and he's also, we do a lot of hangouts, and he points out new anomalies and things to me. He's the guy that found that strange arch on Kanowski.
Okay.
It looks like an A. It's like an A-frame thing. I don't know if you've seen it.
I don't know if I have.
Unreal. Do you want me to send you the link?
You could, yeah.
It's unreal, this thing that he found there. Let's quickly see if I can find it for you. We call it the Kanowski Arch.
Okay. Let's see. Maxina W says NASA takes orders from above not to disclose life. Yeah, I mean, they're basically run by the DOD, right? The Department of Defense, the military, the higher-ups. And they basically pull the strings and say, this is what you can show, this is what you cannot. So, yeah, absolutely.
Okay, I sent it to you in the chat, as well as in the chat of Skype.
All right.
If you want to call it up, Chris, that would be cool. Thanks.
All right, there we go.
And it's very symmetrical.
Okay, the
and
Kanowski Arch.
Each side is about 12 meters in length. And you can see it's been carved. The edges are rounded. It's absolutely unreal.
All right, let's go to the top here. Let's see, the photograph analyzed here, and of course it's got the actual ID number, was taken by NASA's Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter on 18th of January 2010 and is described as Kanowski Crater Central Peak.
Yeah, and we speculate that could be a pyramid, an ancient pyramid, because it's covered in tiles, rows and rows of tiles. Which you'll also see in this page, I think. And each tile is about 5 by 5 meters in size.
Let me see.
Oh, Chris, you shouldn't smoke so much, man. Is it my smoke that's going over your way?
I think it is. No, it's actually this drink. I actually had like a little piece of chocolate, and it's like tickling the hell out of my throat. So I was like, well, let me go ahead and... But I actually, in case anybody's listening to headphones, I actually, muted my audio so I wouldn't blow their eardrums out. Unfortunately, it didn't do that for you. Okay.
I don't wear headphones, luckily. But check out that A, that triangle.
Yeah, I see that.
How weird is that?
Yeah, it's interesting shape.
And if you click on it, you'll see it in context. Actual size at 25 centimeters per pixel. And you'll see there's nothing else like it. The type of material that was used. It looks like marble. It actually looks like marble.
Oh, it's taking its time to load. It's not loading the page. I don't know why it's
Now,
not.
sometimes the server is a little bit slow.
Let me go ahead and do it again. See if it'll kick in this time. Yeah, well, sometimes it'll do that, I know.
Why is it slow?
I don't know.
Are you still struggling?
It's still trying to load. Not sure what's
Okay,
going on.
it's loading on my side. Or maybe it's cached.
It could be. Site can be reached. That's what it's saying here. It's just too long of a respawn, that's all.
That's strange. 'Cause it's loading on my side.
Well, you got to remember, too, I'm actually receiving this live feed. I'm actually transmitting this live feed. I'm like, so yeah, there's a whole lot going on down here on this side. There it goes. All right.
Okay.
So it's loaded now. It just took a little bit, and it was fine.
And you'll see, in context, there's no other real material like it around there.
No. I'm looking at the same
And-
thing. If we back out,
And in the entire JP2, which is a couple of square kilometers, there's none of that material. So that must have been brought in from somewhere.
yeah, it's definitely different, that's for sure. And this just shape of that thing is just really weird.
Yes.
The surrounding white part of that thing, I'm going to go ahead and zoom in and get it right in the center of the page here. Right there. But I can see that, the way that's like, yeah, that's got that weird shape in there.
It's got like a triangular hole in the center.
Yeah, it's kind of this. I'm wondering, though, I'm looking at this thing, and I can see what looks like whiter patterns underneath this. I wonder if that's a blur that they're trying to put over these objects that are really there. Because I can see something right here. There's on this top, and you have to wait a second to actually see my pointer. But right here on the top part, on the very left top piece, there's a shape going through, very light line going through that blur. I don't know if you'll see that, but I'm going to, it says I'm going over. It's not showing it yet. Wait until it catches up here. All right, I think it's starting to do it now. Yeah, it's starting to do it now. So you can see this right here. There's a line, straight line coming down. It's going on. But look, you can actually see it. It's a nice pronounced line, like a triangular piece right underneath that part, that blur.
Oh, yes. Yes, I see it.
So there's this, to me, that's a manipulation. They're trying to cover up whatever's sitting there. And the whole thing is like that. I can see something on the bottom part of it. On the lower right of that. I can see something. I'm not sure if that one. No, I don't see something right there. But there's something right there with a real long, like a line right here. On that side. Let me back up there a little bit because I don't want to get too much of the compression artifacts. I want to see something here. Get out the magnifier glass. Okay.
I should get I should get a magnifier as well, Chris.
Oh yeah, you definitely have to.
The eyes are definitely not what they used to be.
That's like mine. The second I hit 40 years old, my eye went, yeah, we're not going to be able to see anymore. We're good. It's like, just stop.
Oh, dear.
Oh, there's a lot more in this. Oh, my God. There's a lot more in this area than you think. No,
awesome. Yeah. I hope I've inspired you to do more high-rise photographs, Chris.
Yeah, maybe.
No,
yeah, you look around that whole white area, you can see, like, look around. There's like a light tan area all the way around that white structure, object, whatever it is, all inside there. If you back out, because you don't want compression artifacts, But then take a magnifier and look in there, you can see what look like all these little structures in there. Now, again, I don't know how big this swath is. Have you figured out how big this object is?
Yes, each side is about 12 meters long.
Okay.
Which is 33 feet, roughly.
Okay. So what if, and it's a big, huge if, because it's pure speculation, what if that these beings that were on this planet, because it's starting to point that way every now and then, that they're very small?
Yes, for sure.
And what if these are actual little structures right next to this very large structure? I don't know. Pure speculation, just questioning.
Yeah.
And
it's like here on Earth, Chris, with the pyramids and the other megalithic structures.
Yeah.
It's as if there was an ancient builder race that was here, and they built these big blocks, 5, 10, 15-ton blocks.
Yep.
They left for some other reason. Maybe there was devastation or war, and we inherited these large structures. It could be the same there.
Yeah, exactly.
I speculate that this devastation that we see on Mars struck at about the same time as it did here on Earth. I think there was a cataclysm, some event that took place in our solar system that whacked everything.
Well, yeah, there might have been like a barrage of like rocks coming through, and it just nailed just about every planet. And if it had life on it, well, it's catastrophic,
Yes, it's like that theory that says Mars was the moon of a larger planet.
Yeah.
That blew up.
Yep.
I don't know if you know about that. The
exploded
planet.
Yeah, I definitely heard about it.
Theory.
And this is what we got the asteroid belt today, is what's left of that planet. Now
could be.
Now, to me, I don't know. It's just like, I don't know. There's so many questions about about Mars and everything else, man. Like I said, if that's true, if we're going into our fifth cycle, our life, the Earth cycle, then maybe thousands upon thousands of years ago, and I don't mean like 6,000, I mean like many thousands of years ago, that we were maybe technologically advanced back then, and of course we got wiped out by whatever event. Maybe it was another impact of something else and pretty much almost killed everything off. And of course, thousands upon thousands of years, it took us time to build up again. In other words, rebuild the planet, and everything kind of disappeared. Now everything went into the ground. It's like I said, if we disappeared, what is that show that used to be on in history? Was it like Earth Without People or something like that? It was something along them lines where it said, after,
No, that's correct, Chris.
It was something like that, where it was kind of like, it was like a week without people. And then it just showed just normal stuff. And then it showed animals would be scavenging. And then it was 2 weeks, then a year, 10 years, 100 years. And you can see how nature literally either rusted something away or the nature overgrew it. And at some point, because now think about thousands of years, and then we finally built our civilization back up and became, at one point, technologically advanced again. Now, my question would be, did we have life on both planets at one time when we were going back and forth? And then all of a sudden this came along, boom, hit both planets, or all the planets, we don't know, and devastated Mars, and because we were still here, we still lived on. Who knows? I mean, again, pure speculation, but to me it just seems like if there was life on that planet, I find it hard to believe that we weren't connected to it somehow. Or there was life on Mars first, because they said that the sun was actually a lot hotter and I think a little larger back millions of years ago. So if that's true, maybe it would have been too hot here on Earth, but perfect, that would have been Earth. Mars would have been Earth back in the day. So if that's true,
maybe,
Yeah,
yes. Maybe we are the Martians.
Well, I've said that more than once.
Somehow they made it, yeah. When things got unbearable there. That would be awesome. No wonder we miss Mars so much and why we're so fascinated by it. Maybe it's in our DNA.
It could be. Yeah, Blue Sun's out. Yeah, I did mess that up. I was trying to say life after, it's like Earth after life was gone. I'm trying to remember exactly what it was titled. But either way, you get the idea. Basically, if all life disappeared on this Earth today, what would it be like in a week, a month, a year, so on and so forth? And they break that down where you see structures collapsing, things rotting into the ground, stuff being buried over the course of time, overgrown, forest, this, that, and the other. And it's just, it was a cool show to watch. And I think they still have reruns of that thing, come to think of it. But interesting. And it would not surprise me if we had life on both planets at one time, and maybe we didn't know about it. How's that? Maybe we were alive back in the day. Maybe we weren't technologically advanced. We just lived our life and didn't think nothing of it. We looked at the other planets and said, "Oh, wow, that's cool," but never seen life on it. How would we know unless we had telescopes, unless we could travel there, so on and so forth? You still, if you had a telescope on the ground, you could not see if there was life on that planet, unless, of course, you've seen some kind of, explosion like they seen there's 2 explosions in 1941. But if you've seen, like maybe a giant, I'm going to use the term mushroom cloud, like there's a war or something like that, you could see that from space. Other than that, you wouldn't know there was life on Mars.
Actually, Hubble photographed a couple of huge plumes.
Yes. Yep.
I can include a link for you to actually go and look at those photographs too. It's not just the 1941 Tombaugh sighting.
No.
There were multiple Hubble
Yep.
photographs taken of these huge plumes that go up 80 kilometers into space.
Yep.
And then also astronomers here on Earth. Check out these anomalies, Chris. This is on that peak, that central peak. If you go down further, you'll also see these funny tiles. And they cover the one side of that.
Yeah, I was just on there, and I thought I had to go down further. But yeah, the following images were cropped from the black and white map projected JP2 and show additional anomalies found in the high-rise photograph. And yeah, to me, that does not look natural at all.
You've got 2 huge blocks.
Yeah.
Same size. They've got protrusions on them. And then aligned to it on the other side, you've got a row of smaller things, which is weird. Now, where are those tiles? I need to show you that. Because that's why we speculate it could be an ancient pyramid. Oh, my word. Kanowski. Let's see if I can find that.
Let me see.
Oh, yes, here I got it. This will show you the tiles. I'm including it in Skype and in the chat on YouTube, Chris, that link. If you'd like to, if you want to go over there and check that out.
Yeah, we'll definitely check it out, see what's going on.
Looks like bad teeth. Raquel, that's a good one. It does, doesn't it?
The bad tooth layout. Yeah, that's what Raquel said. Gelstrom says, looks like bad teeth. You got that right. That's sad. Well, can't
Someone's
again.
This
server's crawling on me today. Let's see what happens.
I hope my blog opens up.
Yes, William, you said Earth after humans, yes. I was trying to, it's been so long ago since I've seen that. Sombre Reptile, hello all, Chris and Jean. What's going on?
Hello, Sombre Reptile. Good to see you. Chris, try again. Why does it do this?
It's starting to load, and it's trying to load right now. It's buffering, trying to load this page. Again, you got to remember, I'm streaming in and out at the same time, so it may be lagging it because of that. Got a lot of data transferring right now. Like I said, I'm actually doing this Hangout, and plus I'm receiving the Hangout at the same time, so I'm seeing what they're seeing, and plus, I'm actually doing this and running Skype, all kinds of crazy stuff. So everything seems to be running fine as far as that goes, but you start to do extra stuff, it's just like might be slowing it down, trying to get on there.
Mimi React says, Chris, NASA doesn't want you to open the page.
Apparently not.
Try and try again.
My God.
Gosh,
James Cameron, you said, I think the planets in our solar systems moved outward over millions of years, and that Mars was once in the Goldilocks zone, as well as and Venus will one day be the new Earth. Very good possibility. Because they said, I think it's the sun will actually shrink over a course of time and burn out, right? Oh, no, it's supposed to actually expand. My bad. So at some point, the outer planets will actually warm up because they said that, you know, basically before the, I think it's, if you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, the sun will become a supernova. Basically, it'll just get larger and larger and basically burn itself out. And so it'll swallow every planet that's next to it first, and then all the planets that were actually colder will become warmer, and maybe life will start on those planets. It's hard to tell. There's no way of knowing that, right? But
Chris, do you want to pull us back onto the screen until this page is loaded?
Might take a month.
Put us back on the screen. Then at least they aren't seeing this page. The site can't be reached.
Yeah, it's just giving me crap anyway. It's still loading. Let me see if I can.
It's very strange. I hope the site's still up.
Yeah, that's all right. One way or the other. If it does, it doesn't. You can have the link so they can all have a look at it anyway. I think you said you dropped it anyway in the chat, right?
Yes.
All right. Matt Patterson, you said, hey, Chris, John, everybody, and hey, what do you guys think about the sub-lakes that they're finding on Mars? Yeah, there's like 3 or 4 other smaller lakes as opposed to the huge body that they found, right? This is in the South Pole. And that they found these lakes, and there's supposed to be 3 others surrounding it. Now, something tells me they're going to find more than that. So, at some point they will. And again, it's almost like there's this slow drip kind of going on, right? It's kind of like, well, we'll show them a little of this, and maybe a little bit of that. And like I said, I've always been a big fan of the idea. I think what they're doing is they're trying to let this stuff out very slowly. So, this is the reason why, hence the reason why we're seeing these little artifacts and these photos. We're not seeing the whole photo, clearly, but we're seeing bits and pieces. Like they're letting these small pieces out. And it's like you shouldn't be seeing them at all, like the last video I just did. What? I mean, some of the things on these rocks will either look like hieroglyphs or there's something that's been maybe covered up by the weather or whatever. We're just seeing these small little pieces on it. Who knows, right? It's really hard to tell. I think the page finally loaded. So let's see.
Excellent. Links can't be posted if you enclose them in. So the links aren't appearing. Let's see if that works.
Oh, let's see. Oh, so if you put like little quotation marks, you put them in quotation marks, it'll actually go on.
I hope so.
One on each side of the link. Put it on each side of the link and then try to post it. See what happens on the Hangout. The Kunowski Pyramid in Martian surface artwork, elevation view. Click for larger image. Oh, it'll be another week before this thing loads.
The tiles are a little bit further down the page, Chris.
Now, there's the other part we were looking at earlier. Layers consisting of rectangular slabs, tiles covering the main pyramid structure. Click for a larger image.
Obviously, I'm speculating, of course, that it's a pyramid.
We're just going to jump off that one there. This is crazy to keep that one on there.
There's that arch.
Yeah, you can see the arch page, the arch photo, and then you can see these here. These would look like tiles. See, this is what puzzles me. Sometimes when you see them all in a row, now these could be very, very small. Like you said, they're like a tile. Is it
5 by 5 meters each?
Okay, so let's suppose though, again, if this is kind of like a flat area, I can just enlarge this instead of actually. Well, I'm just gonna back out just a hair bit. You can see it pretty well now, so I can just zoom into it. And let me get my face out of the way. Both of our faces, so we can see what we're doing here. Okay. Now I can see that pretty good when I zoomed in.
It shows up a little better in 1 or 2 of the other photographs further down the page, but you can see the gist of it there.
See, I'm wondering now: is this on a side like a side wall that has a angle to it, or is it just flat?
That's got an angle to it. This is on the right-hand side of that arch, that funny A structure.
Oh, okay, I got you. All right.
It's about, I'd say, 200 meters to the right
Okay.
on the sloping side of that mound. There's these patches that aren't covered in sand that show these weird. Why aren't those other images loaded?
Well, like I said, I've gotten the
There's
it's not showing that one there. Yeah,
maybe
it's slow.
it hasn't loaded. Yeah, that's why. It's a pity.
Well, the thing is, it's like, it's hard to tell too. I mean, it may not be like you said. It might be just the server's a little slow on there and taking a little bit of time.
I see James Cregan's asking, what do you think about the government's planning to get mining on the moon and Russia signing a deal with China instead of NASA to go ahead with them up there? What do you think? Interesting. I don't know. I don't know what to make of that. But it would make sense to go up there to mine. What is that? H3?
Yeah.
H3.
Helium-3, yeah.
What? Yes, that's right.
Yep.
There was a movie. It's called Moon, made in 2009, of this clone that was running these huge mining machines. And whenever a clone's period of 3 years is up, they destroy him and wake up a new clone. It's a really sad movie. But it's got a good ending. But I recommend watching that one, Moon. It's awesome. Feel so sorry for those clones.
Steve Wagner, you said, I believe NASA realized that we'll not be able to hide this information for much longer. Technology is catching up very quickly. And I agree. I mean, it's like I said, a lot of people ask me the question, why didn't they try to hide these things? Like, how come they didn't hide the moon anomalies better? Well, you got to remember, when were these photos taken? Late 60s, early 70s. Computing was basically to like huge companies and stuff like that. It wasn't even a home, like an in-home thing at the time. And then it wasn't until like 80s, I think it started to really take off. But I don't think they really anticipated people ripping these photos apart. And I strongly believe, I think they went back to these photos and started saying, these guys are getting computers. At some point, they're going to get the technology to be able to rip these apart. So go over them, do what you got to do with them, make them look like the real deal, put them back out. Or they did it right from the word go. So when they got these photos and they did it right there in-house, and they did all the censoring they had to do to it, and that was pretty much it. So, but now that we have this, it's pretty powerful stuff compared to the computers they had back then. So you can imagine this stuff. They're probably thinking, oh my God, these guys are pulling this crap out of these photos. We didn't think that was going to happen. Clearly you can't get everything out of the photo, but what you can get out, it tells all, as far as I'm concerned. You only need one little piece that shows something intelligently made or something that doesn't look natural, right? So if you find that, what does that tell you? Clearly it's not natural. What else could it be? I mean, it's just simple deductions, right?
Correct. Occam's razor.
Yep. Oceans and spaces. Yes, buddy. Love the Raptor Zone.
Thank you. That is actually my gaming alias.
Oh, is that right?
Yes, when I go into these first-person shooters, that's what I call myself.
Huh.
Yeah, Raptor Zone. It's got nothing to do with being a raptor.
No. No, but you know why? It throws everybody off because you actually show that. You actually show it in your video where it shows a raptor with a gun.
Yes.
But here's the photo. This thing finally loaded. So we have all of the tiles. We get that whole area now. I decided to check on it, and here it is.
I'm glad it did.
I don't know, man. I'm looking at this area right here. These things look too well put together or positioned, if you will. I don't know, man. Are these things more than that? Did these...
Yes.
Did these beings, like, build into rocks? I mean, who knows, right? And here's that part on the upper left where you show those two elongated blocks and those stones on the upper part of it. And then, of course, it's right there. So it's on the upper left. And then, of course, we got the rest of this here. Look at the way, right here, guys. I'm going to do this with the cursor. I'm going to just go around it slowly. And you look at this section. It looks like either a wall or a series of blocks in a row. I don't know. That is just bizarre.
And Chris, if you zoom out again and you look at the bottom left of that photograph, you'll see a very smooth, shiny material.
Yep.
And I think that's like an external veneer or cement that could have been applied.
Could very well been.
Obviously, some of it's eroded away. That's what it looks like to me.
There's a square structure right here. And it's got like, see if I can find it again. Right here. Like there's like these megalithic blocks and stuff like that. Really, really crazy stuff here. Some that are right on the side of each other. Got slices right down the middle. You got one right here. Here's the one I was really looking for. Right here, and I'm going to put it right in the center of the screen for all to see. Right there. I mean, what? I mean, these could be all blocks, right? But some of them, they don't just look like a simple block. They look like you show many times in your videos where you have like this, it looks like a megalithic block, but then you got like a triangular stone on it, and you got a round stone on the top of it at the same time. So it really has you scratching your head going, is this really natural? Is that a possibility that these are all natural, or is there something more to it?
If you look at some of the other photographs too, you'll see more patterns.
Yeah.
Imi Reacts is suggesting I play a game called, where is it now? Fallout. I don't know what that is.
Well, Nintendo's saying play Warframe with me.
You see, the latency is a bit bad. So if it's a first-person shooter, I think I'm shooting someone, and before I've even got a shot off, they've killed me.
Yeah, that's not good. That's bad.
Oh, yes. I get a latency of about 240 milliseconds.
Oof.
Yes.
That's pretty high. Yeah, that's not good. If you got something like a 20 or 30 tops, you're not bad.
I know. Maybe I should sign up for Starlink.
There you go.
Yes.
Believe it or not, I actually volunteered for that.
I wouldn't mind doing it.
No. Just to try it out. You basically just throwing a satellite dish outside your house, and then there you go. Now, this I find interesting, Jean. Right here, this is neat. On the low, I'm going to put not lower corner, but on the left-hand side, the right-hand side, because you got some on the left, but the right-hand side is what really intrigues me. And this does not look natural to me. I'm going to wait until this thing loads so you can see this. And we'll talk about it. It's coming up. It's right there. Right with my cursor. Just to the left a little bit of the cursor. Right here. Look at the way this curvature that looks like a wall right here. Okay. And then look at the pieces sticking out of the wall. They literally are the same size. That is bizarre. There's no way that could be natural, at least in my opinion. You'll see it right here. There's one. There's a slice between them. There's another one right next to it. Well, it's up from that one. And then there's a space between that. And then there's another one. And they're tucked in like progressively in. There's one out. One's closer in, and the other one's even closer in. It's even further in the wall. That does not look natural to me. You see what I'm talking about?
Yes.
That does not look natural. It almost looks like this whole area, and you'll see, like the flat area just to the right, immediate right, it looks like almost like a courtyard. In other words, a wide open area. And what you're seeing is these are structures tucked in the side of the hillside, and this is like an opening right in the middle of the that area. And it almost looks like there's like a backwards L-shaped structure, a wall or something right there. You can see a shadow to it and everything. Wow, that's neat. Right here. I'm going to go ahead and circle it so when it comes on, you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. It looks like an L-shaped wall or some kind of part of a structure, and there's a actual shadow to that as well. You can see it right over in here. And you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. That is neat. See that? There's a motorcycle.
Yes.
Sounds like a pretty good hog. Right there. And you can see there's a shadow in there. You'll see how I'm going to do the shadow pretty soon.
Yes.
What the hell? Nah,
Yes.
there's no way these could be natural. At least not all of it. Right there, there's a shadow. Come on. Those three pieces alone sticking out of that hillside tells me that's not natural. And if you look at when I said right to the right of those pieces sticking out of that, I'm going to say hillside, if you will, but it looks like something's sticking out, like it's real skinny. It's got right there, you'll see my cursor. It looks like, picture like an antenna sticking out of like an omnidirectional sticking off the top of your house. There's a shadow of something sticking straight up.
Oh, yes.
And you can see, look at that middle one. It looks like something's black sticking right up. Or it has a line that looks like it's going over the side of it. But that may be the actual something sticking directly off the top of it, and we're seeing the shadow of it right there. Huh. I don't know. That's weird, man, whatever that is.
You should check some of the blocks in the other photographs, Chris, if you get a chance.
Yeah.
And as I say, this is thanks to my friend Saturn Arc over in the UK.
Mine's got a good eye.
Absolutely.
The question was from Mayo Lee. It says, what is the altitude when this photo was taken?
Oh, that you can determine from the high-rise page. If you go to that, I'll tell you now. It's okie dokes. Oh, I think it's something like 500 kilometers above the surface.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Let's see.
Because I'm just curious how big these objects may be.
5 meters long, Chris.
Okay.
Approximately. Okay. Spacecraft altitude 309 kilometers, 192 miles.
Well, they'd still be pretty large then.
At 31 centimeters per pixel.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, but if it's that high up in this photo, these things would have to be bigger than that. They're bigger than 5 meters. That's a lot. That's pretty high up in the sky, and we can still see these things. I don't know. I think they're larger than that. What's everybody else is thinking on this? Are they thinking the same, or do they think it's around that size? Because it's hard to determine. But you did say, was it 309? Okay. You said kilometers up.
Yes.
Okay. So
if you look at some of the other blocks in the other photographs, they're about 12 meters long. These smaller ones are about 5 to 8 meters across. But the general size is between 5 and about 12 meters.
Yeah, see, there's one thing I never trusted was the scaling that NASA has to offer. I'm not saying they could be wrong, because clearly a lot of these could be, right? But what I find interesting is, like you said, when it's 309, okay, we're zooming way in. Are these things really that small? Because you're talking around roughly around 12 feet. I'm thinking 12 feet, that's it? That's now, again, if the beings on Mars are in fact small, then that would be absolutely large to them, right?
Well, if you think about it, Chris, if you go and stand on a block that's 5 by 5 meters in size, that's also quite huge.
Well, and again, like I said, if you were smaller than you are, let's say you're half the size that you are, and, that would be pretty large.
It's like those blocks in Baalbek, Lebanon.
Yeah.
That are 22 meters long.
Yeah, those things are huge.
So
those are huge.
Scale,
yeah.
If you look relatively, that's what it would be like for these small Martians.
Yeah, exactly. If we would make the assumption that they are in fact small beings, yeah, these things would be pretty large structures. And what I find interesting is that opening right there, I said it looks like a flat ground, like almost like a courtyard where it's like open. You can follow that thing along, go down, follow along. It looks like there's a pathway down in some other area down. It's just weird. I don't believe all of this is natural. And like I said, when I seen these three alone, this area here with these pieces progressively going down, and they got a nice separation, almost like the same width and everything, I just find it hard to believe that that's natural.
So, are you going to be looking at these, Chris?
Yeah, we'll have to really get into these.
Check it out. With your technique, you'll bring out so much detail.
Well, like I said, maybe we'll get together on one of these things, or obviously, if it's your work, I'll get your permission to do it, and then we'll check it a little further.
Please go ahead and do. Yes. There's a lot of pipes that look like pipes in this area too.
Yeah. Yep.
That's or like grids, masonry. What do you call those things? Reinforced concrete. Those bars.
Yeah.
In the concrete.
Oh, like rebar type thing, stuff like that, and
it's incredible.
Now check this out. At the top of this photo, I'm going to put it right in the middle. Very top in the middle, there's actually 3 walls. There's 3 walls sitting right there, and it looks like it crumbled on the very corner of that wall. You'll see it right now. Look at the very center top, very top. There's 4 walls, almost 4 walls there. Do you see that right there?
It.
I'm going to just go ahead and move the cursor around it, and then you'll see what I'm talking about. But it starts here, goes up, goes to the back, nice 90. So there's one 90-degree angle, has another wall, 90-degree angle, goes across, 90-degree angle, and the rest of it's crumbled. That to me is not natural. I just find it hard to believe. Now, for all we know, we're thinking, I had a lot of, there it is right there, I'm outlining it. Right there.
I see.
Okay. So a lot of people go, well, they must have been so futuristic, and how do we know that? How do we know they weren't like the Flintstones and like built into square, or very, what's the word I want to use? Like kind of like a soft stone, and they just borrowed it, kind of like what they do in Turkey, the country in Turkey, where they actually burrow into caves. Remember when they found that? They found an underground city. So how do we know that these people didn't, make their homes into rocks? We automatically assume, they must be modern. They must have flying ships. They might have this. They might have that. Now, I believe they were technologically advanced, but to a certain degree. Were they more than us? Or did they build into hills and stuff like that to insulate themselves from the radiation, or just the sun itself? We don't know. I don't know.
Joe at Art Alien has also shown side views of what looked like these openings.
Yes.
Like sort of hollowed out. I think it's in somewhere there in America. You guys have also got these hollowed out sort of shelters or living areas isn't it in the Grand Canyon?
We have them in several different places, but yeah, I think one of them is there. Or some of them are there, rather.
They actually built dwellings into the sides of cliffs.
Yeah.
Or is it in South America? Turkey? No, I don't know, Chris.
Well, I mean, it's kind of like me. You get so much information that you actually screw up and you end up saying something totally wrong. And it's not that you're trying to or that you just don't remember. It's because you got so much information. You're going, what the hell was that? Was that in that space? So you find yourself second guessing yourself. Here's another spot right down here. You go straight down from that 3-walled, almost 4-walled structure. Go down. It looks like a rectangular piece of some kind of outline here. And you'll see that in a second on the other feed, on the live feed itself. You can got like what looks like a wall. Kind of has like this opening or this outline of this area. I'm not sure what to make of that. Oh, just crazy, man. You can see I'm going straight down with it now. I'm showing that wall there. Go way down, right there. Look at that outline of that.
I know.
It's just, I don't know. I believe a lot of these are stones, but I don't believe it all is.
L-shaped pieces all over the place.
Yeah.
Josh says Pueblan city. I did find what looked like old Pueblan ruins.
Mm-hmm.
In Sharp, Gale Crater. You did it too, Chris. You also featured that in one of your old videos.
Yep.
The outline of walls.
Yeah.
Remember?
Yep.
You did that too. And it reminds me of a Pueblan city or structure.
Yep.
The outlines. It's very interesting.
James Cragen says, Chris, honestly, there's structures scattered all around the place. Christ, I can see them without a magnifier. Honestly, look at it as it is. Way down below us. web-shaped walls and hexagon cuttings. Well, yeah, I mean, again, at first glance, you go, oh, there's just nothing but a bunch of stones just there, and that's it. And then as you look at these things closely, you start to see things like uniform, like they're put in a certain area. Or if you were looking, as silly as this may sound, if you're looking down like a Flintstone kind of civilization, looking down at these things, are we seeing stone roofs of these structures? And some of them have been buried by maybe a tsunami. Some of these things have been buried by years of just sitting there and dust and stuff getting in between them, so you don't see the shapes very well. How do we know? Really?
I think you're onto something there. Chris. I found what looked like dolmens.
Yes.
Photographed from above as well.
Yeah.
So we're looking at multiple races or cultures, possibly. We've got Mayan, Incan, Egyptian, Pueblan, you name it.
Yeah.
Everything we have here on Earth seems to be duplicated there. It's unreal. It really is.
Let me see.
But Chris, we can only speculate, right? We need to go.
Yeah, and absolutely. That's the way I look at it. But like I said, when you see these, I don't mind a 90-degree corner. I don't mind a circular piece. I don't mind any weird shape, because nature can make those too, right? But
Absolutely.
When you see it in one area or on one megalithic block or multiple 90-degree angles with squares, with circles, and I mean perfect circles. I'm not talking something distorted. You know, maybe a triangular, shape roof like a pitched roof or whatever it may be. It's just weird. You start to question these things. I'm looking at something right here. These look like towers right here. And I'm going to try to put them in the middle. Of course, I'm not going to get it all in the middle. But right about here, and I'm going to circle it with my cursor. It looks like one of them is brighter, like almost like a shiny something or other. And there's a smaller, skinny one to the right. There's one here. Now, keep in mind, this is an aerial view. So picture like statues or some kind of structure sticking straight up like a tower. One here. And a bigger one to the left of it, right here. That's just crazy. And again, we have those other structures you have to the left there, where it looks like a bunch of them around these rectangular structures. So, yeah, I mean, yeah. you got to love it, because you never know what you're going to find in these photos.
And it's not on a flat surface on Mars where you can say there was water there or liquid and it dried out and this cracked up like a dried out lake bed.
Yeah.
This is on a slope.
Mm-hmm.
Which is, it's mind-blowing. And I like your perspective on these anomalies, Chris.
Well, I mean, you got to think of all angles, right? You got to think of, you can't just say, it can't be just like one directional thing. You got to look and say, maybe I'm thinking about this all wrong. Maybe it should be this way. And, like I said, I see this one right here, almost center of the screen. You got this perfect square. I mean, it's so darn perfect, almost to the point where there's no way this is actual natural right here. I'm going to outline it with the cursor. And then it looks like almost like a rectangular piece. It's almost faded on the top, but there's a round piece also right there. And you guys will see that coming up. Right there. See that square? There's almost a faded rectangular piece on it. You'll see it right. I'm going to point it out. There's the square I'm showing. And then right there, right there. And then there's a round piece right there on top of it. What the hell?
Do you know how many of those I've found?
Oh, I know. I've seen your videos. You got tons of these things.
Oh, my word. My friend Saturn Ark was actually joking with me one day. He says, all you're finding on Mars is knobs. Rows and rows of knobs. So I said, okay, I'll change it to protrusions.
Well, here's another thing, too. Look at just 9 o'clock from that position. We're going to go over from that square structure, go over to this area. Look at the weirdness in this structure. It looks like little cutouts, like 1, 2 squares, black squares, and there's one on the bottom, like let's say one of them's a doorway and the other 2 are windows. But it's just weird the way this is right here. Like I said, it's just 9 o'clock from this position. Go right over, straight over from the left from that one, and go over, and you'll see what looks like this weird piece, but they got like a, I don't know, something white on top of it. So I don't know if this is airbrushed over or This is part of said structure. I'm not sure what to make of that, but whatever that is, no way. Come on. Right there. Looks like a square piece, and it looks like two windows. Now, of course, we're looking at a down view, so that can't be that. So whatever it is, maybe it's something on top of this structure, whatever it is. But you can see it looks like, I don't know how to explain that, but it's there.
Well, look, if you think about it, over time with quakes and Earth movement or Mars movement, these things will tilt slightly.
Yeah.
And we'll see slight side views of them.
Exactly.
Wow. Mars is an incredible place. I love it.
Cyberpunk says, remind me of a dense populated area similar to some cities in India. Very true. Noodle says, it's the lines of similar sized towers and waypoints that I search for. Well, it's a good way to look at it, right? This would, if you could picture these actual structures. Now, keep in mind, if some kind of tsunami or some kind of massive quake or whatever rocked these things, then clearly they probably wouldn't be standing up correctly. And it's almost like something you would see like in a storm like that, like even a storm surge would actually take out most structures and some of them would be standing. And it almost looks like that when you look at that square almost directly in the center of the photo, and you look at the surrounding stuff, it looks like some stuff that looks kind of normal, the rest of it is thrashed. So it makes you wonder if these beings actually lived in stone. We don't know. Again, pure speculation, but what the hell?
Well, you've seen evidence of that in Rover photographs, Chris,
Oh, yeah.
I think.
Yep.
Alien Tenno says, just let my dog out for a pee and Mars is shining bright.
Yeah.
I think I need to take a nature break as well soon.
Well, you should do that.
I've held in there quite long.
Claire M. Meads is triangle, I'm sorry, to the left is very striking. Yeah, there's so many things in here that just, like I said, to me, it doesn't quite look natural.
Okay, David Rains asks, where is this? It's in a place called Kanowski. Where? How can I show this?
There you go, Noodles. Flintstone City hit by a mega tsunami. Just tsunami.
I'm going to include the link
I need to make the screen bigger. Hold on.
for David quickly as well. I don't know if it's going to show, but I'll put it in stars and in quotes. It's Kanowski on Mars. It's in the northern mid-latitudes. And this thing's huge, Chris. This pyramid, if you could call it that, or the mound, these four sides. It's about 2 by 2 by 2 kilometers in size. Very similar to the Raptor Zone pyramid that I found.
Mm-hmm.
Have you seen that one with the perfect four sides and the capstones?
Yep.
That's the one that George Haas wrote the article about, the journal. And Dr. John Brandenburg said he's going to add that to his ancient alien hypothesis.
Yep. Okay. Geometry lines from Google Earth, Mars, Giza Pyramid Complex. Got that one there.
It's a pity those other images haven't loaded.
Yeah, I know. It's kind of disappointing, isn't it? But, I mean, they'll get the page. They'll be able to jump on this themselves and analyze it themselves.
Oh, do you know what? Saturn Ark and myself did a project. We called it the Giza Pyramid Complex Project or something like that, where we lined up Kanowski, what was the other place? Asimov.
Yeah, Asimov, yep.
And we started plotting ley lines on Mars.
Right. Trying to see if it's the same position.
linking ancient sites here on Earth. We started doing that on Mars.
Yeah.
But we didn't complete that project because it just became a nightmare. There's so many geometry lines, if you call them that. That's unreal. And then in Kanowski, there's also what looks like surface artwork of ancient Egyptian deities.
Right.
It's sort of art that's been inscribed on the surface of Mars next to Kanowski.
Yep.
And that's a whole video on its own. we can spend 3 hours talking about just that.
I guarantee it.
But I think for now, the nuts and bolts is good to talk about.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, because, I mean, you really want to tear these things apart, right? And find out, and try to make the connection and stuff like that, which is awesome.
Okay, we're looking at swamp gas, people, and this is for entertainment purposes only.
Be careful of that swamp gas. It can get you high.
Oh, I hope Mauricio doesn't mind if I light up another smoke.
Yeah, there you go. Wing Chun 58 says, what kind of vehicles did the Martians use in this city? That's a great question. Speculating, man. That's all we can do. But if they were building into like buttes, hillsides, maybe stone blocks, stuff like that, that doesn't necessarily mean they're like, like Neanderthals, right? It could be like, I know modern day people will build underground and still have all the amenities of what everybody else has. So is it possibly built like that but had, what you would have in your house today, well, something similar, in other words, modern stuff, inside that particular structure? We don't know. But I can't imagine, I've said this a million times before, it's kind of like us. How long has the wheel been around? How much longer will it be around? You could almost bet if they had any kind of anything like that, it probably had wheels or something like that to get themselves around. It just makes sense to me. I'm sure they didn't go from, hey, we're these kind of like we did here, like the Neanderthals had like clubs and stuff like that. Then the Egyptian times we had brass chisels and hammers and stuff like that. And all of a sudden, boom, we're driving around and, flying ships. There's steps to be taken. And, to become technologically advanced, unless, of course, some alien race just dropped it and said, by the way, you guys will need some kind of transportation. Go ahead and take these. So other than that, which I think is silly, I would think that they would have to have some kind of vehicle, and it doesn't have to be like we have here. In other words, it can have wheels, but it could be powered by something totally different. It doesn't have to be what we power ours with. It could be something that's just like a pod you drive around in. Who the heck knows? But it's like I said, as advanced as we are, we still have the wheel. So it would not surprise me if any other race out there was using something similar until they get more advanced, and then, of course, they did away with a lot of junk, But, yeah.
It's like, Chris, if we go to Mars, we're not going to take all the construction material along with us.
Right.
We'll make use of what's there. We'll probably live in lava tubes, and caves, because there's lots of caves on Mars. I think you've also discovered one or two.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And we'll take along what's called aerogel, I think. I did an article on that too, where there's this funny gel that they make into tiles. It's very light.
Yep, I've seen that.
It lets through ultraviolet light.
Mm-hmm.
And it blocks the heat inside. And they say if they build structures on Mars with this foam, it gets to about 37 degrees Celsius inside without any technology.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's blocking in the heat. It lets through the infrared or the ultraviolet.
Yep.
And it keeps the air in. And it's a very light material. You just take a couple of liters of that stuff along and you make tiles out of it. It's like polystyrene.
Yeah.
It's very interesting, but it won't block asteroids.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. Chris, the alignment of the pyramids have been matched to Orion's belt.
Yep.
I have an hypothesis that some of the glyphs and things I see on Mars are depicting the summer triangle asterism. I don't know if you've seen that video of mine. I find these funny, like depictions of triangles on a lot of objects. And they line up with the summer triangle asterism, where we have Vega, Altair, and Deneb.
Yeah.
And also I found depictions of what looks like a cross, and there's a cross in that constellation as well. So I don't know, it's like something to look into. The astronomers or astrologists should look into that for us. Just the same people that did the alignment of the pyramids to Orion might be able to help us.
Yeah. They could try to find the similarities to positioning, you know?
There's some and you know what? There's a small Orion's belt in that triangle as well. It's in the Lyra constellation.
Yeah.
So the pyramids might even be aligned to those 3 stars in Lyra and not Orion's belt.
Yeah, they're starting to find a lot of different similarities to either layout of structures here on Earth and what the ancients seen in the sky, and they built their patterns according to the stars. So, which I think is awesome. You know what I mean?
Do you know what that reminds me of there? When we look at teeth, Jaws from 007. A triangle with the 3 forks or so. Looks like metal teeth. Talking about teeth earlier.
Wing Chun 58, thank you very much for your support. I do appreciate you. Got the little animal there. Bravo. Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at this photo at the same time, and I'm looking at this thing, and you labeled it, I think, was some kind of triangular shaped craft in wreckage. This right here, I find it interesting because you can see where they went over this. It looks like they kind of went over it real quick, but you can see that very tip of that 90-degree angle where it's brightest. To me, that's telling me that either there's enough sand on the top of this thing to bury the actual rest of the brightness of this thing, or it's been kind of going over and drawn over to hide any details, but they left out that 90-degree angle where it's brightest. So in other words, it's either whitest or metallic, and that's the brightest part of it, and the rest of it's not so bright. That's telling me that either time has buried this thing a little bit, or they did what they can to maybe censor it.
I wonder what that is.
I don't know.
Metallic.
It's interesting, whatever it is.
I don't know what that. My friend Saturn Ark also found this thing. He's got a keen eye for anomalies as well.
Well, and you got to love that. You know, the more people are in this thing, you know, like our subs, you know, they're awesome. I mean, they'll find things. I'll do a video, and they'll say, "Man, did you see that? Oh my God, this, that, and the other." Now, I try to focus on the much larger things so they stand out so people can see them. But a lot of people are really into these things where they're seeing a lot more smaller things. They want to look at the smaller, intricate parts. You know, I do that too, but I just don't want to make an extremely long video, although a lot of people don't mind it. They don't seem to care. But, you know, it just takes a whole lot more time. The longer it is, obviously, the longer it takes to edit. So it's a little bit more time consuming. So we try to keep them to a minimum, you know, 15, 20 minutes, maybe a hair bit less, depending on somewhere around there. So, yeah, I mean, they find some interesting things, and sometimes I overlook them and I don't even see them. And they're like, "Man, you missed this, man. I can't believe you missed that." It's like, I'm glad you found it. That's the whole point. So it tells me that people are really scrutinizing these photos. That's
awesome. I really like that.
Yeah.
I see Archetype Net says, better watch out, Zawiya was will be on top of you with that hypothesis. Shame on you. That's the asterism.
Yeah. Wing Chun 58, I like that. The cat has Orion's belt. Yeah, I remember that.
Didn't Zawiya was retire? There's this youngster that's opening up all these new tours.
Yeah.
In Cairo.
Yep.
He allows people in where you're not allowed to go in, and, you know, just got to pay him a bit of money. Well, let me not say it. Sorry. The tour guides, not him specifically.
Yeah.
You just bribe them and they let you in.
Yeah, well, that's true. You give them, you just grease their palm a little bit. You're good to go.
If you follow Brian Fuster's work,
yeah, yep,
you'll also see he talks about him being allowed into secret places.
Yep.
After having a word or two with the tour guide. He gets to see amazing things.
Yeah, exactly. This is interesting. I think I'll try to get a little close. Where is that one there? This might take a little bit. Let's see what happens with this one here, if we can get it to go on.
Elaine Paul says he didn't retire, he was forced out.
Probably good that he has been.
I don't know if he was. Wow.
Well, I mean, do you remember back in the day when he would say everybody would claim this or that, and right off the bat, no matter what you said to him, he was like, totally, no, that's not true, and, totally deny it all. And I'm like, why would you do that? It's almost like he's just one of these people out there that are just trying to hide our real, origins and stuff like that, and trying to keep this hush. It's like, why do that? To me, it makes more sense to just tell the truth. Why is it so hard to comprehend? But it seems like they're just trying to do everything they can to stifle the idea, what's going on as far as our past,
Yeah, he was also he came off as a very strong person. And it was only his way or no way at all.
Exactly. That's what I didn't like about the guy.
Someone says he was removed by government. He was caught selling artifacts. Who knows?
Yep.
Wow.
Looks like this page is not going to load. But what does it say? Oh, there it goes. Let me see. It'll fill in.
Oh, do you know what, Chris? What fascinates me is that Cairo actually means Camp of Mars.
Yep.
That's very interesting. That link.
Yeah. To me, this looks like it's all busted up something or other. You can see that. Now, this could very well be nothing more than, just natural stuff, because I'm trying to look for something that may stand out. So far, I don't really see anything, but really, really cool. This is really good, good quality photo there,
Oh, this is the one with the blocks.
Yeah.
My friend Saturn Ark also came across this. He reckons this may have been some type of retaining wall, and the blocks have moved apart. You can actually see some of them laying down in the gully.
Yeah.
And they're perfect blocks, Chris. 90-degree angles, the works. And this is the top of that gully. And it looks like some type of wall that's been built across here. And the whole of Asimov, this is in Asimov.
Okay.
It looks like a type of a water city. It had this round moat around it with this island in the middle. It looks like, what was it? What's the word? Homer wrote about it. Atlantis.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I can't remember it either off the top of my head.
Atlantis.
Yeah.
It looks like an ancient Atlantis, this. Found some really weird anomalies here. There's a monolith here that measures 75 meters by 33 meters. It's lying inside a gully. And it's got the same aspect ratio as the monolith of 2001, A Space Odyssey.
Really?
Okay. Very interesting.
Let's see if we can take a closer gander at this here. What do you think?
Yeah.
I like this piece standing up. Yeah.
So see some of the other blocks. Incredible stuff.
Yeah, and a lot of it looks like to me, a lot of this looks like, and even if it's just stones, a lot of it looks like it's been blown to pieces, like it could have been something much larger. Even the way this thing's cut out here, and it might be just the way it broke apart, but in this right here, almost in the center of the photo, just a little bit down from center, look at this 90-degree angle right here, and this piece right here, and there's a rock below it. So whatever this was, it's like almost like there was a another layer on top of this other block, whatever that is. And you can see it. You'll see it in a little bit because you're not seeing my screen, but you'll see it like when everybody else sees it. Right here, you can see that. And it has a shadow, and it's on top of another rock. I'm going, okay, so what's all that about?
We've seen ancient structures here on Earth, and they've built on top of it. You see that in Europe and in South America.
Yeah.
You see the ancient big blocks underneath, and the smaller blocks that we put there recently. So we've also built on top of larger structures.
Right, right.
So it would make sense.
Let me see. Scott Dovey says, compliments to your guest, Chris.
Thank you.
Everybody's got a lot to say about Hawass. Yeah, he was a douchebag, no doubt about it. I didn't like the guy. He was just so cocky. It's like every time they said, he was like, oh, I'm basically the ruler of this place. Nobody gets in unless they got the golden key. It's like, how about a boot right in the ass? But, so, I mean, to me, they're just, it's like, let people explore. I understand they don't want to desecrate everything in there. I get that. But a lot of times, if you've seen a lot of these shows when they're opening up these chambers and everything, it's already been forced open. And a lot of this stuff has already been, basically they raped the tomb and there's nothing left in it. I don't know how many times you've seen that or heard that, where they're thinking of getting into this new tomb that they've never been into, and it's like, well, somebody's already been in here. So it's like, but the guy was just like, he didn't want anybody he called it snooping around, where I thought, no, you're in the way of progress, you should get out of the way. Now, I'm not a big fan, like I said, of them desecrating everything in there, but to me, I mean, at some point, if you don't do it, and I mean like the museums, geologists, things like that, then, the looters will, and that's the problem. I'd rather have professionals go in there and take this stuff and put it in museums and everything else than to have it basically ripped apart and torn apart and just they want to sell it for money as opposed to putting it where everybody else can see it, like I said, in a museum, right?
Yeah. Mimi React says he thinks he's a pharaoh.
Yeah, he's a pharaoh, right?
God.
Let me see. Huh. That's pretty weird looking little object too, right there on the right. Looks like it's got a little round piece, nice straight edge behind it and on the side of it. I don't know if you'll see that, but I'm going to point this out right here. Round piece. Got this piece going straight up on the side of it, the left-hand side of it, and then straight in the back of it. That's interesting. That part right there. That's cool.
The part, that long, narrow part. It looks like a mast.
Look at that, what I'm pointing out.
Oh, down there. Okay.
And you can see
There's
that right there, the small round piece right inside it.
Yes. What the hell?
I mean, yeah, you want to believe that these are all rocks. Yeah, that's all they are, man. But when, like I said, and I've said this because I actually had, if I didn't get you on there, I had a Gigapan ready for this. So I'm glad that we did, which is great. But it's like everybody can look at a photo and just go, okay, next. But really take a look at these photos, and it'll reveal some crazy things that you never thought possible. You go, no, because when I'll tell you what, when I first started out this, I was watching several people actually, but I was watching one of Will's from What's Up in the Sky 37, and
awesome chat.
What was his other name? He was from the UK. I just had his name. God, what is
Joe?
It? Michael Witter.
Oh yes,
Michael Witter. I was watching his, and I'm watching these two guys. I'm going, man, do they not see the way they took out and they mess with this photo? They're not seeing the real picture here. This is what prompted me to want to do these. I said, I don't think people are seeing the real picture here. They're really not seeing it. They're just, yeah, look at this. And don't get me wrong, they show some great stuff. Kind of like we're looking at here. These weird stones that just don't look like natural. Some different details in them that doesn't look natural. But again, they're not looking at with something that really stands out, or it's being hidden through blurriness or some discoloration, things like that. I'm trying to look at this piece here. This is pretty interesting. It looks like a half-round block right here. I don't know if you see that. We're seeing the very end of it right there. Am I seeing that right? Right here. Coming up. Kind of looks like it has like an arch kind of shape or like a quarter-round piece. And it looks like it's sitting on a block, almost a rectangular block. It has a corner right there on the bottom of it. That's interesting. I like that. There's something right here. It's, oh, my God. What is that? That's cool. This other block right here above it to the right, that thing has been hidden by dirt or something, but that is something else. You can see a white line. I mean, not a white line, but a darker line. It's pretty much separating the whole piece like it's a design. It's weird how to explain it, but I'm going to show you this. You'll see it as it catches up. You'll see it. But those in the bottom, and then this piece right there I'm showing now, it's an elongated piece. There's a piece, it has this nice dark line going right down the side of it. That does not look natural. Something's definitely covering this.
Do you know what also? It looks like these blocks are covered with cement or plaster. It's this white substance, material.
Yep.
That's weird. I don't know how else to explain it.
Yeah, this is awesome. I mean, just look at this. I'm going to get way into this thing. Like I said, we get like what looks like this half-round piece here, and then it looks like a block, and you can almost see a 90-degree angle on just below it, and you see the corner of that. And like I said, just up here, you can see how that's as much as I can zoom in. It's the maximum I can get in. But this white piece, if you were to take all of this gravel or dirt off of this, and I'm not so sure that's natural at the top piece of this, but you can see this black line running right down from the top to the side of it. That, to me, does not look natural. That's cool.
James Cregan says that Göbekli Tepe in Turkey.
Yep.
12,000 years ago, the moon and Mars could be hiding the same.
Well, that could very well be. Thanks, James, for your support. As always, you put, the site at Göbekli Tepe. Yeah, I mean, in Turkey was covered by... There's a lot of things. If you notice, there's a lot of ancient stuff being found in Turkey, right? Like I said, that... I don't remember off the top of my head, not your head, but my head. Do you guys remember the name of this city they found underground? That the guy was... Because it's funny how they built into mountains. Like I said, they probably did the same here on Mars, but they built into like this softer rock and into these mountains. And the guy was just trying to expand it to make another room. And he hit it with a pickaxe, and the wall fell in. And there was like, what? How many levels? Like 4 or 5 levels or whatever it was? Maybe even more? I think there's more than that. And what was funny about it is they said it can hold like 20,000 people. That's crazy. And yet, they built into mountainous sides and everything else. Absolutely.
Chris, have you seen those megalithic blocks down in Argaea, Planitia?
I think I've seen them through your videos I think you've had.
Yes, those things too. We've got... long, narrow, rectangular blocks.
Yep.
The same size, next one another in a row. And then smaller blocks that fit nicely next to them.
Yep.
It's incredible. It's like those megaliths down in South America. These things are mind-blowing. And I like your perspective. You see things that I miss.
Well, to me, I just want to, I take my time over these photos because I know I've missed a lot in the past. In other words, when I very first started, I was like, I don't think there's anything in these. And like I said, the more I get into it, I go, wait a minute. And I think the biggest part, and I don't know if you went through this, but the biggest part for me was like trying to get my mind to wrap around, because what you've been told was dead planet, cold planet, dusty planet, and the moon's the same way. But then you find these crazy things and you're trying to wrap your head around, wait a minute, I've been told, and that's the key words, I've been told there's no life on this planet. Well, there may not be now, although some still believe, and I believe I'm 50-50 on that. I believe there could still be life on that, and I really do believe there is. And then there's, it's just the way they describe it. And the way you've been told, you think, nah, there's no way. So then you're trying to get your mind wrapped around the idea, is this actually there? Is it on Mars? And then you really start to go through this thing. There it is. Photo after photo after photo. You see things in there that are just not natural, and then they don't come by nature. You know what I mean?
Yes. I've got to a point where I asked myself, is it really worth it to carry on with what I'm doing? Because I've shown everything there is to show. And every time I look, oh, there's something new. There's something new. There's something new. That's incredible.
Yes, Elaine, thank you. Darren Kuyu, yep. Underground City, thank you. I was trying to remember the name of it, couldn't get off the top of my head, but that was awesome. They literally take you through a video through that thing, and or they had photos and they had like people going in there and checking it out and everything else. And they had these shafts that went all the way down to the bottom, obviously to get water or air through the bottom. Really, really cool the way this is designed. Now, I think they had two hypotheses. They thought, well, it was to get away from their enemies and stuff like that, so they built down there. Or it was at a colder time, so being underground, clearly you wouldn't be freezing because, it has a constant underground. And, of course, the deeper you go, there's more of a constant temperature. So I think that's awesome how they built that. And they said they had everything from livestock down there to, like, basically kitchens, a place to and basically had a place to pray. It had all kinds of stuff in there. So now it's nothing like we would do today, meaning you actually had, like, all kinds of furniture and everything else. But we don't know that. All we see is an empty structures now, or empty, basically, city, right? So I don't know. I find it very interesting that even our ancient people dug into the ground as well as, look at the Pueblo Indians, right? They built right into hillsides and everything else, and they used a stone. They used what was around them, and that's what they built. It makes sense to me.
Yeah, Brian Fuster also says there's a network of tunnels under Cairo.
Yeah, there is.
That connects these sites together, and he is allowed to film it on his next tour of Egypt. I'm looking forward to seeing that. And he says, that stepped pyramid in Egypt, the stepped one,
yep,
that's slightly eroded. He says inside it, there's a shaft in the middle that goes down a couple of stories down into the ground with megalithic blocks and slabs and monoliths inside it with massive sarcophagus. He says he'll also release that on video when he gets a chance to go back and film it.
Mm-hmm.
But he says our minds are going to be blown.
Yep.
If he gets to film it. I look forward to seeing that.
See, now, I'm glad you see, this is what I love about this. I've just been leaving this photo here for a reason. These guys have already seen this, and I've seen this myself first. This pipe type thing sticking right out of this object. You can see the very top of it here, and coming down, and it looks like it's almost into a block that has corners to it. And I'm glad I just left it there because I want to see how many people would jump on this. And I don't know how many people just like, Chris, look at it. Look. They're saying, look that pipe out of the object. One was just saying off the center to the left. And you can see that. It's literally like a Docker hole right here, like the top of a pipe. You can see it going down the side.
Yes.
And you can see the actual block that this is sitting in. What the hell is it? Why is it there? Again, it makes you wonder. Good eye. This is what I'm talking about. That's what I love about these subs. They're awesome.
I agree.
Wow. It's just like, you have to have, I love the idea of people just, some of these YouTube uploaders are just like, I'll tell these people what they need to hear, and they're just going to go with me, and that's the end. No, I don't want that. I've said it a million times. I want free-thinking people. I want critical-thinking people. But when you bring the evidence, let them digest it, and let them come to their own conclusions. And that's what it's all about. For me, that's what it's all about. And these people have seen this, and they're just going, oh, my God, look at that. And it's like, it's one thing for you to say what you might think it is, but just point it out. Let them see it. And then they go, wow. They might say to you, I don't know, they might have said this to you before, well, Jean, I don't see it like that. It appears to be this instead. And that's what you want. They're literally eyeballing and literally ripping these photos apart, and they're checking it out. And that's what you want.
Yeah. Many of my subs are actually downloading the JP2s and going through them for themselves as well.
And that's awesome.
I'm really encouraged by that because we're not going to be around forever.
Right.
And it would be cool if youngsters can get involved with this.
Well, I mean, if they hand it down, if there's strong enough evidence, you're going to have more and more people looking at this thing, right? And they're going to be looking at more and more of these photos, And then, who knows, the parents will be talking about it, the kids are watching it with them, and then they go, hey, Dad, I'd like to check that out. Or, Mom, I'd like to check that out. Whatever it is. And that's when you know you've done your job.
Absolutely. Wow.
Alien Tenno. It's a dead parrot, Chris.
I saw that. Chris, it's getting a bit late on this end. It's 1:45 in the morning.
Yeah. Yep. I was going to say, I'm just looking at the time now. I'm like, oh, yeah, yes, it is. Yep.
So,
and I'm ready to close it out anyway. It's a little earlier, but I got a couple of things I need to get done before I go to work tomorrow, which is not good, but, it is what it is. It should be an early day for me. And then Sunday, I'm going to be hanging out with Billy Carson. He's going to come up. We're going to do that pot for that Black Knight satellite. I'm kind of pumped about that, stoked. Can't wait to do that. And, be pretty busy there. And a lot of times I try to get something out during the week. I know if somebody commented saying, oh, we used to see a couple more videos during the week. I try to get at least 2 out. So I'm going to try to get back to that if I can. But usually at the beginning of my week is crazy at work. And it's hard to knock anything out. But I'm going to try to do it, like if I can do it in the middle of the week and maybe something at the end of the week or something like that. But it's just been crazy. But I'm glad we get the Hangouts anyway, because the Hangouts alone, I'll go ahead and put our mugs back in here. Let me see here. That's not to scare the hell out of people. All right, so we got both of our faces on here now. But
oh, we're back.
Yeah,
okay.
So I just put it back on. So the idea is to me, it's like I try to get as many as I can, but, I work too, and I think you said you do as well. So it really is, you're trying to balance the time out if you can, you know what I mean? But you come out with some really, really good photos and stuff like that. And a lot of people have said that, man, it's good that you guys can do it. He's doing the satellite photos, Chris, and you're doing what you do on the ground and you're seeing different perspectives. You're seeing satellite as well as on the ground photos. And that's awesome. And like you said, you made a great point, Jean. You said that a lot of these things are very small, so you're not going to see it from the satellite. Absolutely. My last video I just did, I said, here's the actual Spirit rover, and there's the objects to the right. These things can't be more than a couple feet. 3 feet, 6 feet. Now, in order for you to be able to do that, you'd have to really be able to go in like the high-rise camera on board the MRO can actually zoom into 4-foot swath on the ground. It's almost impossible. So you can only use what you've been given. So, yeah.
What surprises me is that the high-res photographs of the rover don't show the rover in detail. You just see a spot.
Yeah.
You don't see wheels. You don't see the chassis. Nothing. You just see like a spot.
It looks like a pixel.
Like the Inside Lander as well.
Yeah.
But yet, I can see artifacts that are 3 meters across.
Right.
And the rover is about 3 meters in size too, isn't it, Chris?
It's roughly around there.
Yeah, so I don't understand why it doesn't show up.
I don't get it either. It makes no sense. And I think if they went really, really close into that 4-foot swath, you'd see things you're not supposed to see. Now, if it's capable of doing that, and they claim that, and again they say word for word, unprecedented detail that you can see on. I haven't seen this unprecedented detail yet. Now, these photos that you're showing the satellite, those are really good quality photos. That's awesome, and you can really pull these things apart really well. But keep in mind, look at the rocks carefully, because what they're doing is they're putting. Like, they might actually be simulating, like you could take the color and copy the color and put this fabric over whatever you want to block out. So you want to be careful of the shapes that you're seeing and really, really pay attention to this, because you may see more than what you're really seeing. Not that you don't do a great job already, but it's like I picked out a couple things already and I'm going, that looks like fake dirt. Like they could just take their clone or lasso tool and just move it over and cover over whatever object they want to. So you got to be really careful. That's what I've noticed, and that's why I really take my time to really scrutinize different parts of these photos for that reason. Because either you got half, let's say you got a whole item, and half of it is like doctored up, and the other half is not. Well, your brain can't comprehend because you're only seeing half the item, because you're seeing that one color, then the other color is totally different. But if you could see the whole object in one color, you'd go, oh my God, that's whatever. But you can't. So that's their way of fooling. That's just trickery at its finest, and that's what they're good at doing. That's all there is to it. So, but anyway, guys, we're going to wrap this up. Thank you again, Jean. Much appreciated for you being here. I appreciate your time because I know it is late for you. So I do appreciate your time. Keep up the great work. I know everybody's been telling me, oh, man, Jean does great work. That's why I've been trying to push people to your channel because you do. And I appreciate your work that you put out. A lot of people here do the same. And they just go, listen, we're seeing different perspective, and that's the idea. Ground, satellite. That's what it's all about. And if you're seeing things in the satellite, you're seeing things on the ground, come on. I mean, how many times you got to see something before you really get, it gets into your head? You know what I mean? That's what it's all about.
Thanks, Chris. Thank you for having me on the live stream as well.
Yeah, we'll definitely do this again. I mean, now that we get this problem rectified, it was really getting on my nerves. And I actually had a full head of hair like yours until last Hangout, and I ripped it all out. No, I'm just kidding. But I actually took my hat off. But see how I like it nice and shiny? But I do have hair. No, there's no doubt. I just like it short. I just don't like it. It just gets in my way. I can't stand it. A lot of people think I'm nuts because the winter time's coming. I go, oh, no, doesn't bother me any. I'll throw a hat on. I'm good to go. But anyway, guys, if you want to say anything else to the subs, I think some of your subs are here as well. I'll give you the last word, and we're going to jump off. Everybody, thank you for your support. Much love to everyone here. You guys are awesome. Another great hangout. I'll let Jean have the last word, and we're going to bail.
Yeah, Chris, I was just going to add, the astronauts always shave their heads clean like that. So you're preparing for your trip to Mars. That's all it is.
Hey, if they send me there safely, I'm good to go. I'll pack my shit right now.
I'm prepared to get rid of my bush as well. I don't mind.
There you go.
I just wanted to say thanks to you and your subs, Chris. I really appreciated this. It is fun.
Yeah. Anybody hasn't subbed over to him, jump over to his channel. You guys will love it. It's a Jean Ward channel. Jump over to his work, and this is what you'll see. This is just cool stuff, and he brings up some fantastic finds. Jump on over there, sub to him. I think you guys will be happy that you did. It'll give you more material to watch, so go check him out. Archititan, thank you very much for your support. Very much appreciated. Never mind, make America great again. We need to make Mars great again. Peace out, everyone. So, yeah, absolutely. You guys rock. We'll see you guys later. Have yourself a good weekend. Be safe, right?